Okay, we must go live, waiting for Jesse to get his ass in the channel. But we're back with more Mermaid of Zennor. Rhymes with Lenore. We found this out in the game last time, so that's useful to know. Let's switch over and shared chat not doing it. Start sharing chat. Helps if I press the button. There we go. Shared chat started. Hello. Right. Where did we get to? Yeah, so little recap on the story while we're waiting for Jesse to join. Also 50, just under 51 hours to extra live. Little recap on the story. We are Lilac, who is, I don't know, a teenager. Has a brother called Jesse, which is why we're playing this one, because Jesse was like, well, I have to be Jesse. And I was like, well, that's cool. We can be brother and sister. Lilac has a crush on Jesse, an inappropriate crush on Jesse. And Jesse has a girlfriend. I mean, you know, so it's all whatever. Hi, Dan and Milo, that's okay. I mean, I'm assuming Twitch or Discord reminded you we're having the early start, so it's all good. Oop. Bashed my mic earlier and it's gone for a little walk. So yes, we've got a Jesse. I can hear now. Can you hear me?
Nope, I'm not here. I got yelled at to get into Discord when I was getting set up.
You wanted to start early. You wanted to start early because you have a thing, and I don't know how long this is going to take. So
understand,
yeah.
I had, I was busy.
Were you celebrating your win?
I had dessert.
Ah, okay. That's fair enough.
And, I tried to get some puzzle quest done because I didn't puzzle quest yet today. I haven't even gems it yet.
Yeah, I could see you were doing puzzle quest on your start screen. That's why I said get in the Discord, please. I'm like, we're supposed to be doing mermaid game. Silly mermaid game.
And thank you, Dan.
Yes. Congrats on the win. I was watching in silence how many minutes it was behind until you came on and were doing the talking thing, and then I was like, ooh.
I didn't do any talking.
Okay, well, there was talking at the end of the stream.
Yeah, but that's because I joined the interview.
Yeah, that's what I meant. At the end of the thing, they always do the interview, so you get talkie on stream. I mean, 20 minutes behind the speaker.
Set it up
yeah.
Well, that's 10 minutes behind when the interview happened.
Right. Well, whatever. I was watching and making alerts, so I was sort of listening to silence for a little bit, and then the talking came on. Either which way, yeah, we are back with Mermaid Game. Yeah, we're doing.
We did not, Dan. I didn't look for it. I don't usually jump back in. And oh wait, no, somebody did. I guess you didn't see in chat afterwards, Dan.
West Africa.
Kane was on the mushroom turn-in, according to apparently in the credits, the text for the mushroom turn-in explicitly said that it was the Kane.
Cool. Hey, Scarface. Oh, I need to. Right. Okay. Just watch the race on the read stream. Start watching you. Gotcha. Everyone getting their Chivos in. I should probably get my own Chivo in. Not that it matters. I just do it just to check it works, but everyone else has already checked it worked anyway.
Why would it just stop working?
If I've forgotten to run the bot. It depends on the bot being running, but my getting stream started is open up Edge for my chat, open up OBS, open up my audio thing, and open up StreamerBot. And if I'm doing a co-stream, budge OBS along a little bit so I can stick the Discord call in the middle so I can see it. It'll be easier for Extra Life. I'll just use the voice chat in my channel, in my Discord itself, and then people can drop in and out, and it's just easier to manage than trying to do a call. So yeah, are we ready to get started with the story? I believe we've just had possibly the most awkward dinner ever, and myself as Lilac is I definitely would not want a bounty. Do not want to be nauseous right now. Yes, myself as Lilac is having a bit of a, you know, retreating. Yes, a pout. I mean, that is such a mild word. But yeah, let's go for that. I retreat to my bedroom after that awkward and uncomfortable dinner. My stomach's still empty, my heart even emptier. Jessie meant the world to me, and now Skylar has taken him. I'm going to be melodramatic. She has taken my world, and she has smeared her fingerprints all over it, so I wouldn't be able to enjoy it even if she gave it back. Everything has been ruined. I lie on my bed, staring at my ceiling, my eyes glazed. It is dark outside, and the sky is filled with stars, but I don't feel sleepy. I want to be with Jessie, but that isn't possible. Jessie will play music on his guitar for Skylar now, and tell her stories, and they will watch old horror movies together. Skylar will pick salty kernels of popcorn from a bowl held on Jessie's lap, and he will run his hands through her hair, and she will squeal and pretend to be scared when women get murdered on the TV and hide her head against his shoulder. She will cuddle up to him, and he will let her because she is his girlfriend. Sorry, you're in it. Get my blanket, and my laptop is stealing it. I am only his sister. Jessie once told me I was the only girl for him. He lied. How could he lie to me? I say softly, because my mobile phone, which is in my school bag, which I threw on my bedroom floor, is beeping. Somebody is calling me. Who could it be? I take my phone out my bag and look at the name on the screen. It's Ashlyn. I don't feel like talking to her very much. Oh, also, just gonna interrupt. There is a announcement of Dr. Decker 2. At the moment, just Steam, but you know, they did the first one on Xbox, so we can hope. Diavecchi Studios, and they have confirmed that Ashlyn is back. So, you know, Elka should be happy.
She was great in the first one.
She was amazing.
She was our favorite mermaid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, is it mermaid or was it a siren? I'm not quite sure.
Well, we're kind of blurring the lines with the story of the Mermaid of Zennor already.
Yes, that's a good point.
Because the mermaid definitely has siren vibes.
Yes. I mean, she's back. And I'm just definitely here for this. But I remember that was probably one of the first FMBs that I played. I streamed. We really loved it. But yeah, we were very much pro Ashlyn.
The first one I remember was a different one, actually.
For me or for you?
Just the first one I remember kind of being on the new way of doing these.
Ah, I mean, there could have been another one. That's the one that's stuck in my head. Mainly
that one with the bank robbery or the museum robbery. That was like the first one I remember.
I don't know if I streamed
that one. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so, but I can't remember the name. Dr. Decker 2 Double Decker. I don't know if it's like 2 Doctor, 2 Decker. I don't know if it's gonna have a subtitle. Oh, maybe. The museum one. Yeah, with the...
With the Chinese triad mafia thingy or whatever.
Yeah, in the
I don't even
auction.
know if it was Chinese.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but I don't know if that was my... Hang on, I've got an FMV. Oops. I've got an FMV playlist that it exists for, you know, times like this when I can't remember my own.
I want to say it was last or late or something.
Okay, actually, so... Apparently, I didn't put Dr. Decky... Oh, no, there's more in there. Gone. Hang on. Of many. Of many. Okay, so the first one
Late
that I
shift.
streamed... Late shift. Okay, so the first one I streamed was The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. And then I did the Shapeshifting Detective. Then I did some Headspun. Simulacra, The Complex, more Shapeshifting Detective. Dark Nights with Poe Monroe, Telling Lies. GC's Red, Dark Side of the Moon. I Saw Black Clouds, more Dark Side of the Moon. 5 Dates. Dark Nights with Poe Monroe again. Nightbook, Bloodshaw, You Press Mute on Dr. Marcus. Immortality, The Gallery. More 10 Dates. 10 Dates. Dark Side of the Moon again. More 10 Dates. Murderous Muses, Mia, Not for Broadcast, Outside Hotel, Truth, Criminal Expert, and The World After. I don't think I did Late Shift on a stream.
I remember watching somebody play it.
Unless... Nope, the only one I've got that contains late is an Assassin's Creed Origins late night stream, which was an hour in November 2017. Yeah, I didn't stream Late Shift. I played it. Yeah, I played it. I've got Game Pass as a note on it. Was that on Game Pass?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I played it in like 2019, but I didn't stream that one. No, 2017. I finished it in 2019. So yeah, no, I didn't. You must have been watching someone else. Maybe. Oh no, I know who it was. It was TA.
Who are they? They don't stream. They're not a streamer.
They don't, but I'm fairly certain that's where the Spooky Dicks comes from. I may have spent a rather large amount of time yesterday night trying to find it. I mean, Late Shift did not have Spooky Dicks in, but it was definitely something. The specific date had one of those words streams. Like, you know, like Jackbox, but not Jackbox.
Letterquest?
No. Use Your Words, it was called.
Oh, that one.
And we played it, and that was on the 28th of April 2017. But, you know. I didn't Google it! What I did was I went, right, what did I stream then? I didn't have any streams then because I wasn't streaming then. That's why
we do incognito mode.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have Googled Spooky Dicks. Why would the internet know my random little thing that I said on a stream, 8 years ago or 7.5 years ago? So, no, what I did was I tried to find the TA streams on YouTube, and I found that there was that stream, but then it was like, oh, well, I'm not going to go through the entire stream. Let's just assume it was on a TA stream. I'll find the game later. Oh, and the trouble with the trolley was Spyro, so you were right, Jesse. So yeah, it's Ashlyn. I don't feel like talking to her much right now, but I don't want to be alone either. I answer the call and press the phone to my ear. You ready to be Ashlyn? Hello?
Lilac! Ashlyn replies, her voice bright and cheery. How are you?
Doesn't seem fair that I should be feeling so miserable, but Ashlyn's so bright and cheerful and happy. Well, tell her about the girlfriend and she won't be. Hey, everyone. It seems a bit insensitive. Ashlyn doesn't know that I'm sad, though, so I shouldn't be cruel to her. Mrs. Corey is always telling me to be nicer to Ashlyn. I like
We've
Mrs.
heard this
Corey.
before.
Yeah, many times. I'm not so good, I tell her after a long pause. I feel sad.
Sad? Why are you sad? I thought you would be happy. Your brother did come back today, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Then why are you sad? You didn't have an argument, did you?
No, I've never had an argument with Jessie.
I mean, being a pouty little whiner isn't exactly not an argument.
I know, she's...
But
How
okay.
old is she? Like 13? I can't remember. 15? Told us at the beginning, but...
She's in high school. Right?
Yeah.
So it seemed like it was only a few years behind.
We did some
Like
whole maths thing, isn't
4-ish
she?
years, 4 or 5 years. Worst case.
Yeah, okay. 15. Yeah, I mean, she's too old to be having pouty. Poutiness, especially over her brother.
Right.
But yeah.
I thought not. Jesse seems so easygoing. I can't imagine him arguing with anybody. He's not like you, Lilac. Oh. Stab.
What do you mean by that? I ask, and I think my voice must sound sharper than usual, because Ashlyn sounds surprised when she replies.
I didn't mean anything bad by it. I just meant you have more of a temper than your brother. I still remember what you did to Megan in math class last year.
Yet she was bullying me, so I stabbed her with a compass. Oh. Is that all what you meant?
What else would I mean? Ashlyn asks innocently.
I don't feel like explaining myself to Ashlyn. I do not think she would understand. Ashlyn has never suffered in her life. People don't insult her, or call her names, or throw chewing gum wrappers at her on the bus. It never used to bother me because I told myself if everyone else hated me, Jessie loved me, and that was enough. That has changed
So dismissive.
now.
It's like she doesn't even know anything about the girl because she hasn't taken any investment in Ashlyn's life. And then she's like, Ashlyn's never had hardship.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's like, oh, I suppose she's my friend now. It's like, yeah, well, you have spent a great deal of time together, but are you actually friends if it's all one-sided? Excuse me. It's changed now, though. Jessie does not love me. He loves his girlfriend, and I'm not with Jessie, but she is, and it all seems so unfair when I've waited so long to be with him again that it makes me want to scream.
I forgot love is one direction.
Oh yeah, you can only love one person at a time.
Okay.
That's the rules, Jessie. Did you not know that?
I did not know.
To be fair, it is one of those things that it feels like a lot of what society and the media sort of teach is that, you can fall in and out of love and you love one person at a time, and it's a little bit like, getting on a train type thing. I don't know why that's my analogy here. Oh, Dan has a rotor. That's useful. But then, of course, you have... Love is much more complicated because love does not just mean, like, a romantic love and, like, sexual attraction and stuff like that. It's infinitely more complex. And also, you can love people all at the same time. Differently, the same, or for different reasons. And yeah, it's up to you whether you...
still there?
Nice! That was clever. Yes, I'm still here. I'm just ranting about love.
You don't sound like your usual self.
What does my usual self sound like? I ask Ashlyn, because it's hard for me to think about myself when my head is so crammed full with thoughts about Jessie. Maybe, I think, as I lie back down on my bed, my brain will leak out of my ears in my sleep and I will die. I would rather die than watch Jessie laugh and smile and flirt with Skylar. It would be less painful.
It's hard to say. You usually sound so, I don't know, cool, I guess.
I'm not cool, I say flatly. Megan says I'm not saying that word because we just don't use that word.
Megan's a bully. You should just ignore her. I think you're cool, Lilac. You never let anybody bother you.
If I let people bother me, I probably stabbed them and then I would get into trouble.
You're so funny. Ashlyn says, and she laughs as though I have just told a joke.
I'm not joking. I don't understand why. I was being deadly serious. Where's my Moira emote? I need my Moira emote. There we go. Moira.
But you really don't sound like your usual self today. Maybe this sounds insensitive, but you weren't crying, were you?
I wasn't crying. I'm not going to cry either, I said sharply because I can't stand the thought of shedding tears. Crying is a messy and embarrassing process, and it's something I only do when I'm sure I'm alone and no one else will see me.
Well, alright. I'm still worried, though. You sound so defeated.
I feel sick. And that isn't entirely a lie. I do feel a bit sick. I should never have tried to eat that pork chop, even if it was for a noble cause. I wanted to make my mother happy. It didn't work.
So if you and Jesse didn't have an argument, what did happen? Weren't you looking forward to seeing him?
Excuse me. I was looking forward to it. But... Whoa!
But what? What happened?
Dan
With the
gave a
stick up.
derpy cat guns, and that looks epic. That's what happened. Actually, he didn't come back alone. There was somebody else with him too.
Friend from university?
That's right, a female friend. A very pretty female friend with very red hair and red lips with smoky black eyes.
Ah, I see. I didn't know Jesse had a girlfriend.
I wince. Ashlyn's matter-of-fact way of talking makes this situation feel even realer than ever before. I can't deny it, not even to myself. Skylar is Jesse's girlfriend. This is the world I live in now. This is my reality. What would be really ironic if that actually was your girlfriend's name, but obviously, you know, we're not using names for people who aren't here. So I can just call her Skylar now.
Ah.
And you'll have to explain it. This is... dot dot dot.
I'm texting Skylar. Ah, what a shame. I was hoping Jesse might confess to me one day.
Don't be stupid. I'd say flatly, though my mind feels like it's collapsing and my world is falling apart around me. Jesse would never look twice at you. You're too young for him. But Ashlyn is 5 months older than I am. Ashlyn is prettier than me too. She came to my house for a sleepover this summer before Jesse went to university and she made him laugh.
Oh my gosh, a whole laugh.
I know she had more of a chance with him than I do. I can see now that I was just deluding myself. I never had a chance.
Well, I guess I knew that. I was never really serious about it.
How? Sorry, game. How could you flirt with my brother if you weren't being serious? Why weren't you serious? Part of me used to hate Ashlyn because she had a crush on Jesse, but now Jesse has a girlfriend. I feel angry that her feelings for him were as strong as I imagined. How can anyone not love my brother?
Well, I was a little serious, but I know you're right. I never really had a chance. I just wanted to have a bit of fun.
Aren't you sad that Jesse has a girlfriend? You wanted to be his girlfriend.
A little, but I knew this was going to happen. I should have expected as much.
How did you know he'd get a girlfriend? He hasn't had a girlfriend before. I never thought he would.
You went to university in London. London is way, way bigger than St. Ives. It'd be weirder if your brother didn't end up with a girlfriend or two.
2? Just think having one girlfriend is painful enough without having 2 of them. Why would he need 2? Oh, my sweet summer child.
I don't think he'd really have 2 girlfriends. It was a figure of speech.
Maybe you should choose your words more carefully.
Or just go with the simple explanation that, you know, sometimes people start dating, then they stop dating, and then they date somebody else. That wouldn't be that hard to believe either, but, you know.
I don't think she's thinking rationally at this point.
I don't think she has been the whole story.
Okay, but she's thinking even less rationally. There's no rationality. No, hang on. Is that the right phrase? There's no rationality at this point? Rationality is out of the window. Down the garden path and over the wall.
Sorry, I wasn't implying Jesse would cheat on his girlfriend. He's way too nice for that. Worse luck.
The more I talk to Ashlyn, the more I feel my stomach sinking. Ashlyn knows a lot more about romance than I do. She loves romantic movies like The Notebook, which I thought was stupid, and The Fault in Our Stars, which I thought was boring. I don't think I've seen any of them. She isn't like Jesse, who doesn't like romance movies. He always rolls his eyes when adverts for romance movies come out on the TV. He used to stick his fingers in his throat and pretend to be sick, which annoyed my mum. I don't think he was interested in romance. I was wrong. If Ashlyn thinks Jessie will stay with Skylar, she's probably right, and she doesn't even know how pretty Skylar is. Also, Jessie may not be interested in romance. Jessie may be interested in something else. You know, romance may have nothing to do with it. I thought talking to Ashlyn might reassure me, but that's done the opposite. Now I feel even worse.
What is Jesse's girlfriend called?
Skylar.
That's a pretty name.
She's a pretty girl. Beautiful. She has the reddest hair I've ever seen. Like strawberries. It's a strawberry. And very smooth skin. I have red
she
hair
sounds
today.
Perfect. Perfectly disgusting.
She isn't disgusting. That's the worst thing. Even Dad seems to like her, and Dad doesn't like anybody. Ray!
Is this the first time you've heard
Ray?
of Skylar?
Ray's not here. Don't fake me out like that. It is. I say and nod my head, even though Ashlyn can't see me. Jesse never mentioned her before. He never even said she was going to come here. She just showed up on our doorstep, and Jesse expected us to accept her as a member of our family. Oh! Did she log on? Gotcha. I saw I heard the beep, but I was looking at the text.
Wow. I don't want to badmouth your brother, but that sounds but that sounds kind of thoughtless.
Yes, it really does. It was thoughtless. I was looking forward to seeing Jesse again, but then he had to bring this woman with him, a complete stranger.
That's not why it's rude, but okay.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, the fact that she recognizes it's rude, even though it's the wrong reason, that's still a good thing.
Don't you like her, Lilac?
Nope, I hate her. Sorry.
But your father likes her.
He does. And Jesse loves her, and that's why I hate her. Everyone ignored me at dinner. Everything was about Skylar. Excuse me a minute. Skylar was trying to talk to you and ask you questions. You were ignoring her. My voice trailed off. I stare at my ceiling, my hair splayed across my pillow, and sigh. Hey, Seclead. Skylar's a stupid name anyway. It's even stupider than my name.
What about mine? Is it stupider than mine?
I've often thought Ashlyn has a silly name, but I think Skylar takes the cake. Not literally. We don't often have cake in this house. Cake's for celebrations, and we rarely have anything to celebrate. The cake I had for my 13th birthday was bought from the supermarket. Hey, Alkash.
Elkash.
Skylar is much, much stupider than Ashlyn. It's terrible.
Well, maybe you'll be able to get along with her, even if she does have a silly name.
I don't want to get on with her. I want her to go away.
You might want that, but it doesn't look likely. If Jesse's already introducing her to you guys, he must really love her.
The word love cuts right through me. Like a knife. Like Moida. I thought I was the only girl Jesse loved, me and his mother Tegan, but she doesn't count because she's dead. So I was never jealous of her. And anyway, it's normal to love your mother. That must be why I don't love my mother. It's because I'm not normal. I object to this phrasing. Because I know that she's autistic. Because we had the whole diagnosis thing after she stabbed the bully with a compass and got punished for it, which I also think is not fair. But calling herself not normal, you know, that's just internalized ableism. Is that why Jessie doesn't love me?
Hey, I'm kind of curious. I want to know what this Skylar woman looks like.
I already told you what she looks like.
I know that, but I want to see her with my own eyes. Size up the person who stole away the guy, I'm curious. What kind of woman could steal Jesse's heart?
She's not a woman. She's a witch. She cast a spell on my father and my brother, and now they can't escape from her. Hence the Halloween-themed tie-in.
A witch? Does she wear lots of black clothes or crystals? Does she have tattoos? Did she talk about palm reading?
Oh my god. She does wear black clothes, but I didn't see any crystals.
She's a witch. I want to meet her even more. Please, Lilac, let me come over. Please, please, please.
I think so, Dan. I think so. Ashlyn's childish begging is cut off by the sound of knuckles rapping against my bedroom door. I have nothing to knock on, so I can't do that. There's somebody here to see me.
Well, this is a very familiar voice, which I would be able to pick out from a crowded room filled with hundreds upon hundreds of people. Lilac, are you in here?
It's Jessie.
Hey,
Oh,
hey, Lilac, are you still here?
Oh, sorry. I've got a big yawn there. I'm still here, but I have to go now. Jessie wants to talk to me.
Aw, do you have to go?
That's right.
Well, tell him I said hello.
I'll try, because Ashlyn is the last thing on my mind now that my brother is here. And he's come to see me and he's rapping on my door asking to be let in, and maybe he wants to ask for my forgiveness. Goodbye, Ashlyn.
Bye, Lilac.
I take the phone away from my ear and I end the call with a push of the button. Then I sit up in my bed and run my fingers through my short hair, trying to make it look a little less messy and a bit more presentable. I know my looks are nothing compared to Skylar's. She's tall and pale and beautiful with red hair and red lips, and I am short and dark and lumpy, and my nose is too big, and my smiles, when I do smile, look lopsided and unconvincing. I think someone has body image issues. I am not pretty. There is no point worrying about my hair because it will never look as smooth or as sleek as girls in the magazines. I fuss over my appearance all the time, however, because I care what I look like when Jessie is around. I might not think I'm pretty, but I want him to think I'm pretty. That is because, even after he's betrayed me and broken my heart, I still love him. I love him so, so much, and I want to believe that I still have a chance to claim his heart back. You can come in, I say, trying to keep the tremor from my voice, but it doesn't quite work. My words sound weak and hesitant, and I'm trembling. Why am I trembling?
Well, thank goodness. I was worried I might have upset you.
I mean, me too, Dan, me too. My bedroom door clicks, and then the door opens outwards with a creak, and there he is.
And Skylar.
Not yet. Also, bedroom doors opening outwards are not good. It's easier to hold them closed if they open inwards. Jessie looks at me, tall and dark and handsome as ever. His eyes half lidded and framed with his very long eyelashes. Do you have very long eyelashes, Jessie?
Yeah.
Cool. You look like your character then.
Do you want me to close the door? Jesse asks, his voice soft, because he is kind and considerate that way.
I nod.
Your wish is my command. And he slides the door shut with a click.
Now it's just the two of us alone in my room. Jessie and me. A half-brother with his half-sister.
Can I sit down?
Doesn't look like a kid's room, really. I nod. Jessie sits down by my side. Oh, yeah, I was going to say you should probably read some of this. I need a drink.
Jesse sits down by my side. The mattress sinks beneath his weight. I shrink beneath the weight of his gaze. Why is he looking at me like this? There's a small silence, then Jesse starts to talk. Why didn't you come and sit in the living room with the rest of us after dinner?
I didn't think I was invited.
Don't be silly, of course you're invited. You're family.
Dad asked Mum and me to clear the table and wash the dishes.
You might have said that, but that didn't mean you couldn't sit with us after you'd finished.
I didn't think I was welcome, and I didn't feel like it.
But weren't you looking forward to seeing me? I thought you missed me.
I did miss you, I said, drawing my knees up beneath my chin and winding my arms around them. I missed you so much.
Then why aren't you spending any time with me, you silly girl? Everyone was so focused on Skylar at the dinner table, I barely got any time to talk to you.
And whose fault is that?
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
All of a sudden, I feel horribly guilty. It's a strange sensation, as I rarely feel guilty. I didn't feel guilty when I stabbed Megan in the hand with the compass because she deserved it, and I didn't apologize to her, though the headmaster and Miss Corey both asked me to.
I agree with that.
I had no reason to apologize.
Yep.
It is different with Jesse, though. He might have brought Skylar back home without telling me, and that hurts, but maybe he didn't know how much that hurt me.
We should tell him.
Jesse is a kind person, and I am sure he would never ever want to cause me pain on purpose.
That is true.
He isn't like Megan. Maybe I find myself thinking, if I tell him that I don't like Skylar and I want to spend time with him alone, he will understand and he will ask her to go home.
Yeah, that's not happening.
My brother, he has to understand. That is what I would like to believe, but I think it'd be nice if you got a chance to talk a little more with Skylar too. She knows how much you mean to me, and she wants to get to know you better.
Yeah, we were waiting for the who said it, because I was like, at this point, I've forgotten whose turn it is in the conversation.
My arms tighten around my knees. Jesse can see how upset I am, but he doesn't really care about me. He is still thinking about Skylar.
I don't want to get to know Skylar better.
Don't be like that. Skylar's a really nice girl, I promise.
She isn't nice.
Lilac. Oh, wait. He sounds unhappy.
I must have said the wrong thing. That's why I don't talk. When I do, it just upsets people, my mother and my father in particular. I don't think I have ever upset Jessie this much, though.
How can you say Skylar isn't nice? You barely know her.
I already told you I don't want to get to know her.
Look, Lil, I know you're shy, but that's no way to treat my girlfriend. I want her to like you just as much as I like you. But how can she if you refuse to talk to her?
Ooh. Sorry. I don't want to talk to her.
Can't you at least make an effort? Skylar's worried she might have said something to upset you. You were glaring at her throughout dinner.
I wasn't glaring. My stomach hurt.
Bull. I thought that would have been it. I know you're not a bad girl. You're quiet, so it's easy to misunderstand you. But you never wish ill on anybody else.
My sweet poor summer child. I bury my head against my knees. My short dark hair tickles my cheeks. If Jesse truly believes that, he doesn't mean nearly as well as I thought he did.
Lil, please, can't you come down? I don't want to make Skylar uncomfortable.
I don't care how she feels. I thought you were worried about me.
Please try to understand. Skylar's my girlfriend. I want her to feel welcomed by my family, including you. You're important to me, Lil.
Not as important as Skylar. She's having a right snit.
Don't be like this. You can't be so stubborn sometimes. Try to look at it from Skylar's perspective.
Why should I look at anything from Skylar's perspective when no one is trying to look at it from mine? I thought you came back home because you missed me. I say quietly, directing my words down to my knees. I don't look at Jessie. Being in Jessie's company used to make me feel happy, like I was walking in the clouds. Now it makes me feel heavy, like I've swallowed a stone and I'm sinking to the bottom of an ocean.
I did miss you, but I wanted to introduce you to Skylar too.
I thought you loved me,
I do love you.
but you love Skylar more.
I love her in a different way, Dozy. Dozy?
Dozy.
Okay. She's my girlfriend. You're my sister.
I bet that's why you went so long without calling me. You were busy having fun with Skylar, weren't you?
I was having fun with Skylar, yes, but I don't see why that should be an issue. Don't you want me to be happy?
I do want you to be happy. And this time I say it to Jessie and not my niece. I want you to be happy, but I don't want you to be happy with Skylar.
If you really did want me to be happy, then you'd try to get along with Skylar. That would make me happy.
And what about me? Don't you want me to be happy?
Of course I do. That's why I want you to come downstairs. It's not healthy for you, always hiding away in your room. You need to make more friends.
You sound like Mrs. Corey.
Mrs. Corey is right. You should listen to her more.
You used to tell me I was fine the way I was.
Lil, pinching the bridge of his nose between his fingers, I like you, and I know you're a nice girl no matter how standoffish you seem, but Skylar doesn't know that. I want her to see the Lil that I know. Jesse is sitting with me and looking at me, but I know he isn't really seeing me. He's only seeing Skylar. She's been in our house less than a day, and she has already erased my place in my brother's heart. Compared to Skylar and her red hair and her red lips, I am drab and pale and dull and uninteresting. I'm stupid.
No, you're just related.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. So what about it? Do you want to come downstairs and talk to Skylar?
No.
Lil, please. His face contorts, and for a few moments I worry he might slap me. He doesn't, though. Jesse's too kind for that. Let's go and see her, alright? You need to at least apologize.
Why should I apologise? Stung by the injustice of it all. What did I do wrong?
You made her feel uncomfortable.
Snot. Why should I apologise for making her feel uncomfortable when she has broken my heart?
Lil, aren't you coming down?
Do I have a choice?
Of course you have a choice. You don't need to come down, but it will make me very happy, and Skylar too.
What if I don't come down?
Then I'll be very disappointed.
Oh, we don't want to disappoint Jesse. That hurts. I'm disappointed in Jesse, but I don't want him to be disappointed in me. I don't want him to hate me. Alright, I'll come downstairs.
That's great. Jesse says, though it isn't great, and I want to die. I knew you'd do the right thing, Lil. Skylar will be so pleased. I'm sure you'll love her after spending a bit of time with her.
He's wrong. I won't love her. I already know that I hate her. She's the mermaid. I'll go downstairs just like my brother asked. I have to apologise to Skylar, which I don't want to do because I'd rather stab her than tell her I'm sorry. What do I have to be sorry for? She's the one that barged into my house without asking and placed an enchantment on my brother. If this was a fairy story, she would be the Wicked Witch and she would fall off a cliff. Oh, I do kind of hope one of the endings is her completely losing it and stabbing her with a compass. I mean, I'm not sure that would be appropriate, but it would be funny. Sadly not. Life is not like a fairy story, and Skylar does not fall off a cliff. Instead, she smiles sweetly with her red lips the colour of a poisonous jungle frog and says, "Oh, that's all right. I imagine you were just shy. It can be scary meeting you people, can't it?" "I'm not scared of you and I'm not shy. I just didn't feel like talking to you." Because that's the truth, but Jessie doesn't seem to like this answer.
Jesse pats the top of my head. He used to do this in the past to cheer me up, but his fingers rake through my hair so hard it hurts. Just ignore Lilac. She's a funny girl, but she doesn't mean any harm by the things she says.
Just ignore Lilac. Oh! Seen but not heard. Hey, we got a blooped. It's not the first time I've heard that today, and I doubt it'll be the last. Okay, you can read the giant scrolly text.
I spent a very long, painful, boring 2 hours and 34 minutes, I know, because I was watching the clock on the wall, sitting in the living room with my dad and Jesse and Skylar and my mother. Dad and Skylar and Jesse talk to each other, but nobody seems to notice my mother and I exist. Sometimes Skylar asks me a few questions, but I don't feel very much like talking, and I don't think anybody cares what I have to say. Well, when you don't try to be part of the conversation, you're not part of the conversation. It's a very simple concept.
Sometimes, yeah, I know. If they hadn't tried asking her questions, I mean, I've sat there and no one's like, I feel like I need to be invited sometimes into conversations, but this is not that situation because they've tried to include her by asking her questions and she's not in. Yeah.
Yep.
So there we go.
Let's not fuss about Lilac. I see her every day, Dad says. I want to know all about you, Skylar. That's why Jesse brought you back here, isn't it? Are we reading these, or are we just reading it as a screen?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I mean, we can do the bits that are voices. Sorry, I dropped my phone on my... Well, it fell off the side of my couch. But I do want to get to know all of Jesse's family.
Lilac hardly talks to anybody, which doesn't seem like very fair because he never usually talks to me either. Speaking to her is like trying to get blood from a stone. Maybe he stopped trying as hard to talk to you because you stopped trying to talk at all.
Yeah.
Not a great reason, but, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
And then Dad laughs, like he has just said something funny and not insulting. I am not stone. I might not talk much, and I've heard people call me cold, but I am still a human being with thoughts and hopes and feelings.
Yes.
I'm not a lump of emotionless rock, but sometimes I wish I was.
Sometimes I wish I was a cat.
At least Mom looks just as awkward as I am. She can't sit still in her overstuffed armchair by the window, and she keeps shifting. Every once in a while, she gets to her feet, stretching, and asks if we want cups of tea. Or coffee if you prefer, Skylar, and biscuits or crisps or peanuts.
Great enunciation there.
Stop fussing. You don't need to keep bobbing up and down trying to play the perfect hostess. It's nauseating.
I was just trying to look after our guest.
You're going to make her uncomfortable, acting so smarmy. It's even giving me the heebie-jeebies. He shoots a glance at Jesse and says, "Women, eh?" And then winks and smiles like he has made a very clever observation.
Man.
Jesse laughs and Mum's face turns red.
He's delightful, isn't he?
She sinks back into her chair, her head hanging, and Skylar seems to take pity on her, because she says,
Actually, I wouldn't mind a cup of tea. Wonderful. She actually smiles for the first time that evening. What kind of tea do you want, Skylar? What types do you have? Oh, the usual stuff, nothing fancy. We have some Tetley's classic black tea, and I think we have some green tea with honey. Green tea with honey sounds nice. You like green tea too? That's one of my favourite blends. Andy says it's too frou-frou, though. He prefers plain black coffee without milk. He's a briefer man than me. I can only stomach coffee if it's as diluted as possible. I'm the same. We have more in common than I thought. Oh, bless. I glare at my mother crossly. I thought she didn't like Skylar. Why is she smiling and laughing with her over something as trivial as tea? Doesn't make any sense. How can people's emotions change so very quickly? Because Skylar made a gesture, and it made her mum feel included. Thus, you know. Olive branch. When I feel something, I commit to it. I hated Skylar when I first saw her, so I will continue to hate her. And I loved Jesse when I was old enough to understand what love is, so I will always love him.
Do you understand what love is?
No. Not really.
Like,
but then I'm a romantic, so, you know.
But, like, I'm just, like, the general idea of, like, love only means apparently one thing. It can only exist in one form to her.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. People say it can be difficult to understand what I'm thinking, but I don't think it is. I'm very consistent. I'm not the confusing one. Everybody else is. I feel that. My mum and I don't have much in common, but I thought we'd at least bond over our mutual dislike of Skylar. Now Skylar has taken even that away from me.
Oh, good lord. I wanted to avoid all this fuss.
I'm just looking after our guests, Andy. Skylar wants a cup of tea, she said. I wouldn't mind. My throat's feeling a little parched. That's right. She's been doing a lot of talking, Andy, fielding all your questions. You've been cross-examining her for almost an hour.
I wasn't cross-examining her. You make me sound like the bloody Gestapo. I was just curious.
I know, dear, and I'm glad you've taken such an interest in Jesse's girlfriend, but you should give the girl some time to breathe.
Oh, very well. If Skylar's having a drink, you can put me down for a cup or two.
Black coffee?
Of course.
And what about you, Jesse?
I'll have some of that orange Echo. Do you still have it? Come on, this sounded more like something I wouldn't be aware of.
No, I know. It's like, but obviously he drinks it, so he would know how to say it. Hang on, let me just have a googly glue. Pronunciation. Pico, apparently, according to Bing. Orange Pico, which is a name of tea that is originated from China. That's helpful.
Orange Pico. Leave it to you to drink fancy schmancy stuff like that. Nobody in this house appreciates the value of simple coffee. It isn't that fancy. It's only Tetley's. What?
Oh, I mean, it said laugh, but I don't, but I laughed. So I did it wrong.
Oh.
Mum and Skylar laugh, but I don't. I glare at Mum, hoping she will understand. Cruel and vile and wicked traitor she is being, but she doesn't. Stop looking at me like that, Lilac. Like what? Like, I don't know, like I've just murdered a puppy. Well, I might not have murdered a puppy, but she did murder our sense of camaraderie, no matter how brief. And I think that is even more important than the life of a hypothetical puppy I've never met.
That poor puppy, that poor hypothetical puppy.
Alright. Do you want anything to drink? I shake my head. I don't like tea or coffee, I only like hot chocolate. We rarely have any of that in the house. Alright then, suit yourself. And does anyone want any biscuits? We have digestives and bourbons.
I'd never say no to bourbons.
No. It is not a whiskey. It is a bourbon.
Bourbons.
They're English biscuits, Jesse. You can say it right. Bourbon. It's a bourbon.
Bourbon.
And they're yummy. It's like a chocolate biscuit with like chocolate buttercream in the middle. Did you ever have it when you were in Scotland?
Nope.
No. Well, if you ever come across to watch the sports ball, I will get some bourbons for you.
I could come for reasons other than sports balls.
I mean, you could also come for other reasons, but okay, well, if you ever come across the pond again, I will make sure you have some bourbons. Alright, I'll be back in a tick. Cheered by her newfound purpose, Mum gets to her feet and sachets out of the living room. She returns 10 minutes later with a rose-patterned tray. 4 cups are balanced on it, black coffee for Dad, orange... Oh, how the hell was it pronounced again? Pecco?
Pico?
Pico. Pico. Yeah, Pico. Thank you. For Jessie, and 2 green teas for her and Skylar. There's also a plate set in the middle with bourbon biscuits arranged prettily on top. Mum serves the warm drinks, places the biscuits on the coffee table, then sits back down in her chair, smiling contentedly. The time ticks by slowly. Ah, I guess it's like a rectangular Oreo. The chocolate ones. But
okay.
Different biscuits. It's more of a crunch. I find that Oreos are not as crunchy. But the middle is pretty much the same. Time ticks by so slowly. The room is filled with the smell of coffee and tea, and it makes my stomach turn.
Dad asks Jessie and Skylar more questions. They're only too happy to provide him with answers. Even Mom, who was so stony only a few minutes ago, starts chipping into the conversation. Nobody looks at me. Nobody seems to know I'm here. It's a relief when the clock finally reaches 11 and Mother yawns and says it's getting late, and I agree with her and slip off to my room before I can be called back. But nobody calls me back. Nobody cares.
Oh, you do dramatics so well, Jessie. That's not our room. Oh no, it's the morning. Oh, Mum makes us bacon and eggs and fried tomatoes and baked beans for breakfast the next day. It's a very classic British breakfast and one of my dad's favourites. I would also have added sausages and some toast in there, but sure, I don't like fried tomatoes. Fried eggs. But for different reasons. Okay. I disagree wholeheartedly with most of this sentence. So, I don't like bacon very much because it's covered in white sticky fat, and that is only because obviously not doing it so the fat goes crispy. The fat is supposed to be crispy. It's not supposed to be white sticky. I don't like beans because they're red and covered in red sticky sauce. Well, technically it's orange. But if you don't like tomatoes, then that could be a thing. They're lovely though. And I don't like eggs because the yolks are too yellow and sticky. I don't like fried eggs because I do not like runny yolk. But that is a weird me thing. And I hate tomatoes. But apparently she doesn't mind tomatoes, so she pokes them with the prongs of her fork. Don't eat the
Joe is
bits.
clearly not lilac anymore.
No, or not. I disagree completely with her, except for the egg. I don't eat the bits of fried tomatoes that have touched the beans or the egg yolks because that taints them and Mum scolds me. Why do you always poke at your food like that, Lilac? Just eat it for God's sake. Well, I mean, she's autistic. An autistic person doesn't have food sensitivities. But I don't like beans. Or eggs or bacon. You know that. I know that you can be a royal pain in the backside when you want to be. Now eat. I didn't slave away at the stove for you to turn your nose up at everything. I'm not turning my nose up at it. I haven't even moved my head.
Literalist.
What?
What?
Littlest. What?
Literalist.
Oh, literal. Yes, we take things literally. But
Yes.
not actually taking things literally, because that's a kleptomaniac.
You stole the joke, I said.
I knew that joke before you sent it to me, but I did laugh again when I did it. That joke has been going around autistic or neurodivergent TikTok for a long time.
You're such a caution, Lilac.
A caution? What the heck does that mean?
I have no idea.
A cautionary tale? Caution is not a verb, not a noun, right? I mean, it is.
No.
A caution is like a warning. You had a caution for like doing a bad thing. Anyway, don't encourage her. This is embarrassing. What in the world must Skylar think about all this fuss? Don't care what Skylar thinks of me. She's already eaten all of her baked beans and her fried eggs and her fried tomatoes, and she's nearly eaten all her bacon. She eats quickly but precisely, cutting up her food into tiny bite-sized pieces and popping them into her mouth. She doesn't even smear her lipstick. She's so perfect, it's unsettling. I hate her. That's all right. We all have different things we like and we dislike. I don't like swedes or parsnips. Oh, you're a girl after my own heart, Mum says. Neither do I. Your fry-up is delicious, though. The bacon's so crispy. Incoming! And yes, I got my new alert thingy working, and it looks like it's working. Thank you, Leaky, for testing out my new alerty thing. Hang on. I haven't updated my button, so I'm going to do a proper one here. If you're not following Leaky, you should. Leaky is awesome. Leaky's been streaming Tiny Glade and making what looked like a very frosty, in all senses of the word frosty, little tiny village. We just tried out Leaky twice. Yeah, I mean, that's good. We'll do that. Also, high Apex. I think there's an Apex in there. So, yes. Just practicing. Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, you know, feel free to shout Leaky out lots. We like Leaky. Right. Bacon's so crispy. Why, thank you. I do my best. I just wish Lilac could be as appreciative as you are. Lilac's only 13. There's the answer to our question. She's 13. That's a fairly awkward age. 13 is old enough to eat up all the food on her plate. So, for context, Leaky, Lilac is autistic and doesn't like the food that her parents force her to eat because she should be able to eat just everything. In case you need context for this ridiculous conversation that we're having right now. And yes, how was your stream? It was quite short. Are you feeling nervous about your D&D tomorrow? A redeem that turns Leaky's power off? How could I have a redeem that turns Leaky's power off? That. I can't control Leaky's power, and I'm definitely not got a redeem that turns my power off. The only thing I have that's smart is this bulb up here. Yeah, I don't even wanna. That would just be mean. You wanted to conserve spoons. That is reasonable. That is very reasonable. Very reasonable. Spoons. Yeah. If I had a button that could turn Leaky's power off, or a redeem, that would just be weird, because Leaky would be like, you know, working away, and then suddenly the lights go out. And it'd be like, is it a ghost, or is it Joe? I'm lost now. I've told you I don't like beans, or eggs, or bacon. I've told you lots of times. Right, now we get to a dad bit.
Because I like beans and eggs and bacon, and this is my house. And you'll eat what I'm having, or you'll go without.
I mean, the only thing I can control is my light here, which I don't apparently have ghostly as an option, which is not loading up, but it does come on automatically. Yeah, I wouldn't know if it worked either. Unless you complained about it. Yeah, exactly. Then I'll have to go without.
Suit yourself, but don't come crying to your mother later when you're hungry.
I won't cry. 'Cause I have more pride than that.
Of course you won't. You never cry, and you never laugh or smile either. You're much too frigid.
There we go. I can turn my light off and it does absolutely nothing. Sorry, I was waiting for it to reconnect.
A little, Dad. She is your daughter.
I know. Don't remind me.
That's just mean. Dan, you could add it to do. Or, if someone wants to add me to do, I can do a turn off leaky command. Which I'm sure someone will misinterpret or misuse. But yeah. Are you going to finish your last bite of bacon?
He finishes his last bite of bacon and leans back in his chair. Well, that was a lovely breakfast, if I do say myself. Thank you, dear, he says, patting his stomach.
It's no problem. Her face turning pink with pride. Oh, a redeem. Well, same difference. I'll add a redeem. It's rare that Dad compliments Mum. It's rare he talks to her at all. Maybe the change in Dad's demeanour is another side effect of Skylar's witchy magic.
Well, I think I'm gonna pop into the office. I need to fetch some things. I'll see you later, Skylar, Jesse. Have fun, you two. Dad doesn't tell me that he'll see me later, and he doesn't tell me to have fun. But that's fine. I never expected him to. Dad gets to his feet and ambles around the table. He presses a kiss against Mom's cheek, which makes her turn red, and then he leaves. I sigh and lean back in my chair.
I'm glad to see Dad gone.
I'm glad to see Dad gone. I can't stand being with him, and I'm sure he can't stand being with me. He hates me.
Lilac, aren't you going to eat a bit more of your breakfast? Everyone else is nearly finished. I ate the tomatoes, but I don't like the beans or the bacon or the eggs. What's wrong with the beans or the bacon or the eggs, for heaven's sake? I don't like the texture. I've told you this before. I don't like slimy foods. Oh, you and your textures. It's any excuse. Did no one give them any literature on what it's like to have an autistic kid?
When was that part of the literature, though?
I don't know, but I feel like, that's like, a thing. We're picky with food, except we're not picky. It's a sensory issue. I was always just told I was picky.
I'm just saying, like, the setting of this game is question.
That's a good point. They are using rotary phones.
Yeah.
Not rotary phones. The old plastic phones.
Yep.
We haven't really seen anything else to...
We haven't seen, like, a cell phone, I think.
Mind you, yes, but, I mean, girls didn't need to get diagnosed. So...
Knowledge and understanding has been much later.
Yeah, I know.
On that subject, so...
Yeah. It's just, I feel like they should be at least a tiny bit understanding.
Sure.
She's lucky to get a diagnosis this early. Some of us have to wait till we're nearly 40.
Well, that goes back to the whole idea of, like, what I'm saying with knowledge and understanding and all that.
Yeah. But it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Can't eat it. Oh, what are we waiting for, Leaky? Are we waiting for Dan to turn your lights
Diagnosis?
off? Oh, yeah, diagnosis. Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for my other one. I'm collecting them. It's fun. There's no such thing as can't. Then why is can't a word? It's not a word, it's a contradiction. Now stop complaining, you have an answer for everything. Would you prefer it if I was so stupid I didn't have an answer for anything? Don't give me that! Then she looks at Skylar. I'm sorry about this. You must think she's so spoiled. I already said I don't mind. I was a picky eater when I was young too. Sometimes I think it goes beyond being picky. She barely eats anything apart from raw carrots and celery sticks. I wish I only eat carrots and celery, then I wouldn't need to fuss over my weight. Don't need to oh, no, that's not me. I thought that was going to be Mum.
You don't need to fuss over your weight. I think you're perfect just the way you are.
Aww. Oh, Jessie. She giggles coyly when Jessie presses a kiss against her cheek. I grit my teeth together. If I wasn't hungry before, I'm certainly not hungry now. I don't want to waste food. It costs good money.
Don't worry so much, Mom. Dad's right. You do fuss too much. You'll get wrinkles before you're 50.
But... Ooh, Jessie cuts her off.
I'm still hungry, even if Lil isn't, and that bacon on her plate looks pretty appealing. Can I have what you don't want?
Under normal circumstances, I would only be too pleased to oblige. I know that Jessie's trying to help me, and I know I should appreciate this gesture, but... Sure. I slide my plate over to him. I don't say anything else to him. I don't feel like talking. How can I be friendly towards someone who's hurt me so badly?
Jessie says appreciatively as he digs into my uneaten greasy bacon. This really hits the spot.
Not the way it's being described, it bloody doesn't. You look like you're enjoying yourself.
Of course I'm enjoying myself. I've been living off microwave meals for too long. I really missed your cooking back in uni, Mom.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you like my cooking, but should you really eat all that?
Why not? I'm a growing boy. Puffing out his chest to prove his point. It doesn't prove his point, though, because Jessie doesn't have much of a chest. Not like Mrs. Corey. Jesse's always been very tall and skinny, and he has hardly any muscle. I suppose you could call him lanky. He reminds me a bit of a greyhound if greyhounds were humans, which they aren't.
But I did play that visual novel.
Jesse's old PE teacher thought he might be a good basketball player because of his height, but he soon changed his mind after he learned how athletically inclined Jesse is, which is to say, not at all.
Well, you always have been skinny. I don't think there's any danger of you getting fat, Jessie, but I don't think you should baby Lilac like this.
What do you mean? After swallowing a mouthful of baked beans?
I made this food for her. She should at least try and eat it, but she always turns her nose up at my meals, like she's too good for them. I want to tell Mum that I don't reject food because I think I'm too good for it. That's stupid saying anyway, because who thinks they're too good to eat? We all need to eat to live. I'm not stupid. It's just not my fault I don't like most foods. I don't like the textures. Sticky, slimy foods make me want to tear my tongue out. Tried to explain this to Mum before, but she doesn't want to listen. She says I'm just being picky. That's why I stopped trying to explain things to her. I want her to grow up. She's 13, not 3. She needs to start acting her age. I ate everything when I was 3. I don't now. So I was completely the opposite.
She's still a kid, Mom. Don't be so hard on her. Let her be a kid for a little longer, won't you? Being adult's pretty tough, as I'm beginning to learn.
I suppose you're right. Mum looks at me, so do Jessie and Skylar. I don't know why they're looking at me. I don't want them to look at me. I don't want to be perceived. I want to be left alone.
Perception check fails.
Yes. Roll for perception. Epic fail. This is
Jessie
all
and
you.
Skylar had to go for a walk after breakfast. I don't really want to go for a walk with them, but Jessie insists. Come on, Lilac, it'll be fun.
Won't be fun. Zennor is tiny and I've seen everything there is to see.
But Skylar hasn't.
I'm very interested. You could be our tour guide, Lilac. I'm sure this lovely old village has a lot of stories. I don't know any stories.
Liar.
I know the mermaids.
Little. Can't you be a bit more cooperative?
That's alright, Jessie. I haven't been here a full day yet. It's surprising if she's still uncomfortable around me.
That's precisely why we need to spend more time together. Now come on, Lil, get your shoes on. I don't like the commanding way Jesse talks to me. He sounds eerily like Dad. The thought makes my skin crawl.
I think I should stay and help Mum wash the dishes. Oh, maybe I should help too.
Jesse waves one hand carelessly. It's the first day of the school holidays, Lil. You can afford to relax a little. You don't really want to stay inside and clean dishes, do you?
Look at the floor, fiddling with the sleeves of my shirt. Jessie is right. Thought I could trust Mum, but she smiled and laughed and chatted with Skylar last night. They were the best friends. She betrayed me. Are you sure you don't want any help? We can postpone our work for a while if you want. Mum usually complains when she has to do the housework on her own. Dad never helps, so I often have to, even though I don't like washing the dishes because I don't like getting wet. I do it without complaining though, because I used to feel sorry for my mother doing so much work without being rewarded. I don't feel sorry for her anymore though. I don't want to help her and I don't think she wants any help either. No, don't mind me, go and have fun. Jessie's right, it would be boring to sit here with me. I can take care of this on my own. I wouldn't be bored. I got 2 younger brothers myself, so I'm used to helping around the house. That's kind of you. But it's alright, you're a guest, Skylar. You didn't come here to clean my kitchen. You came here to spend time with Jessie. I can spend time with Jessie at university. I want to get to know his family too. What a sweet girl you are. Jessie's really lucky to have met you.
I know. But, I tell myself that every day.
Oh, you. You really don't need to worry though. We have lots of chances to chat later. Now you two should run along.
That's right, Skylar. It's a lovely clear day. If we go over the cliffs, we should be able to see for miles around.
Ooh, we can push her off. I'm sorry, I've got murder on the brain today, apparently.
Apparently.
Yes, that's a good idea. Go to the cliffs. It really is pretty, even if it's quite cold this time of year. I don't know why Mum is calling Zennor's cliffs pretty. She rarely goes out for walks herself. She prefers driving to walking and hates getting her shoes dirty. People never say what they really think. Is it any wonder I struggle so much?
So Skylar and Jesse and I go on a walk through Zennor, and it's not fun like Jesse said it would be. It is cold and sad and boring. This is just another one of Jesse's broken promises. It's this 22nd of December and it is a cold day. A chill wind is blowing in from the sea, so I shiver. The sky up ahead is steely and blue, and the clouds are very, very gray. I don't mind the gloomy sky, though, because it matches my mood. With every single footstep, I feel more and more miserable. Jesse and Skylar walk ahead, talking to one another cheerfully. They are so happy it looks like they are surrounded by their own little bubble, completely impervious to how cold it is. I'm outside the bubble, looking in, like a cat staring at a goldfish inside a bowl.
Wow.
This is how I always feel when it comes to social interactions.
Shh.
Feels like everybody else was born knowing what to do and what to say at all times, but I never know what the appropriate response is or what people are expecting from me, so I keep my mouth shut. It is easier to be quiet than risk offending or upsetting anybody, which is what usually happens whenever I try to talk. I watch the other girls at school chatting about TV shows and boy bands and makeup and all sorts of things I don't care about. I think their conversations are pointless and stupid, but they always look like they're enjoying themselves. They smile and laugh, and I say nothing. Sometimes I feel like an alien. Sometimes I think I'm the only normal human, and it's everybody else that is the alien. Other people speak in very strange language that sounds like English, but I can't understand it. I know what all the individual words mean, but they don't come together properly inside my head. It is horribly frustrating.
I used to be able to understand Jesse, but even he has turned his back on me. He's become one of them.
Oh no.
Now he only cares about Skylar.
One of us.
They walk together companionably, with their fingers linked together, and they talk in a soft, muffled whisper that doesn't carry on the cold breeze. I can't hear them, and I can't understand them. I can't understand anything. Every once in a while, Jesse or Skylar remember that I'm here, trudging along behind them, and they ask me if I'm alright. What's wrong, Lil? Why aren't you smiling?
I don't feel like smiling.
Alright then. Suit yourself, but it seems like a waste. It's such a nice day.
It's cold and windy and my hair is getting messy.
Your hair is always messy. He laughs and ruffles the top of my head.
I used to like it when Jesse touched me. He was the only person I didn't mind being so close. Now his touch stings. I know, even though he's touching me, he'd rather be touching Skylar. Her soft, smooth skin has tainted Jesse's fingers. I can smell her perfume on him, and when he touches me, it's like she's touching me by proxy, and I cannot stand it. It makes me want to scream. I don't scream, though. Are you okay there?
Yeah, why?
It felt like your thing was disconnecting or reconnecting. I could like hear myself as a slight echo. I don't know why. Maybe Discord was having a moment. Anyway, it's all good now. I don't scream though, because that wouldn't be a healthy way to deal with my emotions. Instead, I shrug Jesse's fingers away from me and scowl. You'll mess my hair up even more. Because I've heard other girls in school talk about their hair a lot, so it must be important.
Oh, how hoity-toity. You never used to worry when I ruffled your hair, Lil. You really are growing up.
Oh, apparently you were being dramatic.
I am very dramatic, didn't you know?
Being an ass.
I've got the full drama down of the relationship. Oh, woe is me, the melodrama.
I know. Whoa. She's at that age. It's normal for teenagers to care about their looks.
I guess Lil is a teenager, huh? I'm used to looking at her like my kid's sister, but she's not going to be a kid forever.
She'll start developing an interest in makeup soon, and then clothes, and then she'll have a boyfriend before you know it.
Can't imagine Lil wearing makeup. She's never been interested in it before.
Just wait a year or two, you'll be surprised.
I'm already surprised. I feel like Lil's changed a lot since I was away. She used to cling to me like a limpet, but now... His voice trails away. He looks sad, but I don't know why. I don't understand. I'm not used to not understanding Jesse, and it's upsetting me. Speaking of makeup, that Ashlyn girl had a full face of it last time she came over. She isn't that much older than you, is she, Lil?
Who's Ash?
One of Lil's friends. Although that isn't strictly true, Ashlyn is my only friend. She's a nice girl, very blonde and bubbly. She's been to our house a couple of times before.
Blonde and bubbly? She doesn't sound much like Lilac.
They're polar opposites, but they seem to get along. Ashlyn is quite mature for her age, I think. She's always looking out for Lil.
He's very perceptive. I snort, because mature is the last word I would use to describe Ashlyn, but Jesse doesn't seem to notice.
How is Ashlyn anyway? Is she alright?
Ashlyn's fine. I spoke to her on the phone last night.
Oh, did you? Is that why you went up to your room?
That's one of the reasons. I wanted to talk to her about something.
And to think, whenever you had a problem, you used to talk to me.
You've been away at university for 3 months. I had to get used to you not being there.
But I'm here now, aren't I? If there's anything wrong, you can tell me, Lil.
Well, Skylar's there. That's what Jesse says, but I don't really think he wants to know what's wrong. I could tell him that I want Skylar to go away and I never want to see her again, and I would be happier if she was cold and dead and buried in the ground. But that will make Jesse angry with me. He likes Skylar more than he likes me. I know who would win if he had to choose between us. There isn't anything wrong, I say after a long pause, because I know I'm fighting a losing battle.
Are you sure? You've been so quiet lately.
I'm always quiet.
Quieter than usual, then.
If I have problems, I'll tell Ashlyn. You wouldn't understand.
Ouch, that hurts. But nobody understood you better than I do.
I thought that too. I say quietly, but the wind is blowing loudly and Jesse doesn't hear me. Maybe he doesn't want to.
I guess I'm being unreasonable. Can't expect you to follow me around like a puppy forever. You're getting older, and you have your own friends in your own life. That's a good thing.
I don't think it's a good thing. I don't want to have my own friends or my own life. I just want Jesse. So badly. He doesn't even realise it. He doesn't know how much I love him. I don't think even I know how much I love him. Whoa. Skylar suddenly says, pointing in the distance, look at those cliffs. I look, though I've seen the cliffs hundreds upon hundreds of times in the past. The cliffs of Zennor are very, very steep and sharp. They are grey and they rise up high out on the water, which batters against them and tries to erode them away. The sea is working itself up into a lather on the sharp, jagged rocks. The waves churn over themselves like the contents of a witch's cauldron, flecking spray everywhere. It smells of salt and the sea.
These cliffs sure are something. This is Zennor Head, and at its highest point the cliffs rise 300 feet above sea level.
Amazing. London's so flat, I never see sights like this.
Zennor Head's pretty tame, really, compared to some parts of Cornwall. The cliffs at Botalak okay, are much
Go
steeper.
for it. Unless it's going to tell us. Botalak?
It's right on the coast, and its cliffs are made of granite. There was a mine there back in the old days. You can still look around it. It's pretty interesting. Rumor has it that the old mines are haunted by the ghosts of all the workers who died there.
Well, of course there will be a ghost story or two. There always is.
Tintagel has some pretty cliffs too. In the summer, they're all studded with wildflowers. I think it's even prettier than Zennor.
Tintagel? Why does that sound so familiar?
It said King Arthur himself was born in Tintagel Castle. You can still go to the ruined castle. It's very pretty.
King Arthur? You mean the one who led the Knights of the Round Table?
The very one.
Wow. Cornwall really is for history. I had no idea.
Well, now you do. We could go to Tintagel if you want. It isn't so far away from here.
I think I would like that. I've spent too long in London. I want to explore the countryside. I stare at Jesse, my eyes wide and my mouth open, but no sound comes out. Jesse and I went to Tintagel Castle when we were younger. He took me there when he was in year 10 and I was still in primary school. He had to take photographs.
Dan's got something.
Oh!
Tin what?
Tintagel... Oh, it says pronounced... I can't actually read that.
That looks like Tajjle.
Tintagel? We will ask the little man that lives in the thing.
Tintagel, okay.
Tintagel. That's
Okay.
what he was trying to say. Okay, Tintagel then. Tintagel. Yeah, it's one of these things, it's like, not been to them, not heard them said out loud. Going to make best guess. Alright, Jesse and I went to Tintagel Castle when we were younger. He took me there when he was in year 10 and I was still in primary school. He had to take photographs for an art project and Mum and Dad couldn't come with us. St. Angela was supposed to be a special sacred place for Jessie and me, but now he wants to take Skylar there. He isn't content to simply destroy my present happiness, he also wants to go into the past and taint my most precious memories. Has he not done enough to hurt me? Has he not cared how I feel?
Then we'll do just that. I want to make sure your trip here is as fun as possible.
Yes, and also thanks, chat, for helping with the pronunciation. But I've already had a lot of fun, Jessie, after all, while I'm with you.
Skylar, quietly looking into her eyes.
Jessie. Looking into his eyes.
They have completely forgotten about me. It's almost like I am not here at all. The wind catches in Skylar's long red hair, so it flutters behind her like a copper curtain, but she doesn't pause to brush her hair out of her eyes. She continues to look at him. Her eyes are very big and smoky. Her eyelashes are unnaturally long, and they are lined with a sweep of black eyeliner. Jessie brings his fingers beneath Skylar's chin and tips her head upwards, their lips pressed together, Skylar's cherry red lips threatening to consume Jessie's.
We got a bloop for the kiss.
We did.
You don't have any photos to share. It was pre-iPhone days. I feel like maybe, you know, we need to do a trip to Tintagel then or something. Like, group trip! We'll go see King Arthur's castle. They're kissing! I have never seen Jessie kiss anyone before, other than me and my mother, but he only ever kisses us on the cheek. This is very different to that. It looks like a scene from a Hollywood movie. A scene a plain girl like me has no right to intrude upon. At first I thought Skylar was the intruder, forcing her way into my life and stealing my brother from me. But now as I stand at Zennor Head, the waves breaking against the rocks below, I have to wonder if I am the intruder. Am I getting in the way of my brother and Skylar? Would everyone be happier if I disappeared? Nobody at school would miss me. Don't have any friends other than Ashlyn, and I don't think she really likes me. She likes me for my brother. I am unnecessary and extraneous. I am my father's second child, the unwanted child. I'm Jessie's half-sister. Without him, I feel like half of a person. What is the point in being alive when the one person I love no longer loves me? Okay, that's a bit... yeah.
I'm really happy I met you, Skylar. Breaking the kiss.
I'm glad I met you too, Jessie. Resting her head on his shoulder.
I look at them from afar and frown, my eyes narrowed. This is all wrong. Why should I have to die? Haven't I suffered enough already? I was here first, and I love Jessie first, and I am not going to give him up to her. I won't let her steal my place. I hate her. I hate her, I hate her, I hate her, and I need to get rid of her. When she dies, the spell will be broken, and Jessie will come to his senses. He will realize he was cursed by a wicked witch, and then he will apologize to me for being led astray by her charms, and he will embrace me and kiss me and promise to love me forever and ever. I'll make sure Skylar never, ever, ever comes between me and Jessie ever again. But how? Skylar's a witch and I am just a human. She has worked her magic on everybody inside my house, including my mother, and I have no more allies. I'll have to get rid of her my own way. Or on my own. How do witches in fairy tales meet their ends? In Snow White, the wicked witch was made to put on red hot shoes, which made her dance and dance and dance until she died. I don't think I could find any red hot shoes. If I tried to heat Skylar's black boots up in the oven, they would probably melt, and then Mom would shout at me. I need to do something else, something more practical. Something like...
Try dropping a house on her. Or throwing water. That's Wizard of Oz. These cliffs are very stiff. Stiff? Steep. Oh, God.
I mean, they probably are stiff. They're probably not very malleable.
I think I sort of squished a whole sentence together there because, yeah, I've got cliffs and soft.
Sticking a whole, I don't know what I was about to say.
Yeah. Voice soft and crooning. I'm starting to feel a little lightheaded.
I'm sorry, we can go back if you want. I'm done enjoying the view.
No push. Is that alright?
Of course, I'd do anything for you. Kissing the top of her head. Then he turns to me. Are you finished, Lil, or do you want to stay out here a bit longer? Skylar and I are going to head back.
I don't reply. I stare out over the cliffs at the water which pounds against the rocks 300 feet below. I think I've come up with an idea. Dinner tonight is fish pie with broccoli and carrots. Don't like my mother's fish pie very much because there's a lot of fish and not much pie. The fish is covered in a white creamy sauce and everything is very slimy, and I don't like slimy foods because they make me feel like I'm eating frog spawn. I pick at the fish pie trying to pluck out the firm bits of salmon and the comma-shaped prawns, but I can't even eat those because they're covered in sticky white sauce. I leave the pie and instead focus on the vegetables. Most of the carrots and the broccoli haven't touched the pie, thankfully, so I can eat those without worrying about the smooth, weird texture. For God's sake, my mother says when she sees me picking at my food. Why are you always like this, Lilac? I don't like slimy food. You should know that. My fish pie isn't slimy, it's creamy. Is there a difference? Of course there's a difference. I put a lot of butter in it and some expensive seafood too. It's luxurious. You should count yourself lucky I make nice food for you every day instead of the fast food rubbish. Don't tell my mother I prefer fast food rubbish. I've been to McDonald's and St Ives with Ashlyn a few times before. I don't really like McDonald's because it's so noisy and crowded. The table and chairs are sticky too, and there are crumpled napkins and crushed pots of sauce everywhere, which makes me shudder. Don't mind the food though. The chicken nuggets are nice and crispy, and so are the fries. They are not slimy like my mother's food. Gotta love a good nuggie! I like how everything in McDonald's comes separated in different containers. The chicken nuggets in their own cardboard box, and so are the fries, so I don't need to worry about my food touching. McDonald's is very convenient. I just wish it wasn't so loud. That's what takeout's for. I don't tell my mother that I like McDonald's more than her fish pie because I think it would upset her. I can't bring myself to eat her food either, so I continue to toy with it. Even if the dinner tonight wasn't fish pie, which it is, I don't think I would be able to eat much. Too busy thinking about my plan. Can I really go through with it? I don't know. Got into a lot of trouble when I stabbed Megan in the hand with a compass in maths class, and I barely even scratched her. She got a puncture in her hand and she bled a bit, but that was all. Judging by the way she was carrying on, you would have thought she was dying. She's fine now, though. Can't afford to be so lax when it comes to Skylar. She's a wicked witch and I need to kill her to break her spell, and it's the only way I'll be able to secure my own happy ending. I have no choice. What is it, Lilac? Is there something on my face? I shake my head. Oh, thank goodness, I was starting to get worried. Jesse?
Yeah, sorry, just a sec.
No worries. I was just checking you were still there. My headphones didn't disconnect, that sort of thing.
Where are we up to?
Your dad. Stop looking at Skylar like that.
Okay. Stop looking at Skylar like that, Lilac. She's not an exhibit at the zoo. You'll make the poor girl feel uncomfortable.
Well, I'm from the city. I might seem strange to Lilac.
You don't need to make excuses for her. Everybody knows Lilac's the strange one here. She's always been peculiar, ever since she was a baby.
Lots of geniuses were thought to be peculiar when they were younger, but then they went on to dazzle the world, like Percy Shelley or Isaac Newton.
Or Jeremy Kyle. Did you know he had a thing about licking golf balls?
What, really?
I read about it online. Apparently he has OCD. You'd think having OCD and all, you wouldn't want to lick your golf balls clean, but the human brain is a strange thing.
Can we slap him? The dad.
Oh, I know all about that. I have to deal with Lilac.
You never know. She might surprise you when she gets older. She could have all sorts of talents just bursting to get out.
Or Lilac? That's unlikely. The only thing she's good at is being bloody insolent. No, now, that's not strictly true. Lil has lots of skill. She's very imaginative and she's good at drawing. Isn't that right, Lil? I'll believe it when I see it. She's never shown me any of her drawings. You'd be surprised. She's quite good at it, really. Better than me, anyway.
What, you can't even draw a straight line? She says, digging Jesse in the ribs, and he laughs.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me. I know I'm not gifted with the pen or paper. Lil is, though.
What does she draw? She asks, as though I'm not sitting at the table with her and she could not answer by myself.
Oh, all sorts, mostly manga characters.
The ones with the big eyes?
That's right, she's drawn a lot of cute girls in her sketchbook, and she did a few pictures of me, too. She made me look even more handsome than I really am.
How lovely. I have a few cousins that are into that manga stuff. It's like cartoons, isn't it?
Japanese cartoons, yeah, Lil likes that kind of thing.
I wonder. Why don't you show me your pictures, Lil? I'm curious. Now Skylar has started to use the nickname Jessie coined for me like she has any right. Almost like she wants to be friends with me. Well, I don't want to be friends with her. She already has enchanted 3/4 of my family, and I refuse to fall for her fake kindness. Like it's fake. If she was really as nice as she's pretending, she wouldn't have stolen Jessie from me. Look at the hateful witch sitting across from me on the table wearing the skin of an ordinary girl and say, I'd rather not. Why not? I'd really love to see your artwork, Lil. You wouldn't. My drawings aren't that good. I'm sure they're better than mine. I can't jaw for toffee. I don't want to show you. You'll laugh at me. I wouldn't laugh. I don't want to make fun of you. I'm interested in you. Can't you tell? I wish you wasn't. I wish you would go away. She keeps acting this nice to me. I might start to reconsider my plan, and then I will never be able to get rid of her. This must be one of her tricks. She's trying to cast her magic on me, so I will forgive her, but I never will. I am too clever for her. Nobody's interested in me. You're a liar. I say it very quietly so Skylar can't hear me. I wish everyone would just leave me alone. Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Come on, Lilac. Everybody else is finished. Why don't you hurry up and eat?
Just ignore her. She's looking for attention. That's what she wants.
But that's wrong. I don't want attention, least of all from him or Mum. I'd be perfectly content if they left me alone and never ever spoke to me again. I only care about Jessie. All right, fine. Go hungry. See if I care. Strange, because it's obvious she does care. If she didn't, she wouldn't look so annoyed. I don't understand people. They always tell lies and say things they do not mean, but I'm always the one who gets told that I'm confusing. I think I'm rather straightforward to compare to everybody else. Exactly. Oops. I'll hand over to you for a little bit on my tea.
Which line?
Dinner comes to an end.
Dinner comes to an end. Dad ambles off to the living room, and Jesse says something about practicing his guitar. Yeah, Skylar if she wants to come with him, but she shakes her head. It's all...
That's all right. I didn't clean the table at breakfast, so I want to help now. You don't need to help, dear. You're a guest. Lilac can help me clear up, can't you? It sounds like there's going to be 3 women talking to you. May as well do the narration.
Okay, I nod my head because that is usually my job. Mom washes the dishes, and I dry them. That is the way it has been ever since Jesse left home and went to university. It is the way things are. That is how I understand the world, but Skylar refuses to listen.
I don't want to be a guest. I'd like to be a real member of your family someday, and that's why I want to help while I'm here. That's my way of thanking you for being so considerate, and it wouldn't feel right otherwise. Well, when you put it like that. All right, you twisted my arm. Go on, then. Do you want to dry the dishes with me, Lil? To clean up with our Lilac? That's right. I want to chat with her a bit alone. I thought this would be as good an opportunity as any. But why do you want to talk with Lilac? As though she can't fathom why anyone would want to do such a ridiculous thing. I want to get to know her a bit better. I thought it might be hard for her to talk with so many people around. Plus, I figured you might want to rest after making us such a lovely meal. Do you feel rather tired? That's very thoughtful of you, dear. Don't mention it. I think I might just take you up on the offer. Don't expect to get too much out of Miss Scrumpy here. She barely even speaks to me, and I'm her mother. I won't be pushy. Lil can up and up to me when she wants, and if she doesn't, that's all right too. One of my cousins is very shy, so this is nothing new for me. All right, then. She looks doubtful. Don't cause Skylar any mischief, all right, Lilac?
Mom leaves the kitchen, closing the doors behind her with a thud. She doesn't ask me if I want to wash the dishes with Skylar, which I don't. I don't want to be alone with her. I can't stand her. If my plan has any chance of succeeding, though, I need to get used to her. I need to get used to being alone with Skylar. This might be the perfect opportunity to put everything in motion. Skylar washes the dishes while I dry them. My dishcloth squeaks against the ceramic and bubbles of washing up liquid hanging in the air. While I work, I turn my plan over in my head. I've had some doubts during the day, but my resolve hardens with each passing second. I can't let this strange girl with her red hair and her red lips dominate my life any longer. I don't want her to be part of my family. I want my family to go back to the way it used to be. I'm sick of seeing her at the dinner table, and I'm sick of my parents fussing over her, and I'm sick of Jessie smiling at her and kissing her cheek and making her blush.
How dare.
So sick I feel like I might throw up what little dinner I was able to eat into the sink, where the soapy dishes and plates and pans are sitting. Skylar doesn't belong in Zennor. She doesn't belong in my world. My world was comprised of only two people, Jessie and me. It was a pretty pleasant bubble, sweet and fragrant, like the washing up liquid bubbles dancing in the kitchen.
Hey, Horror.
I didn't need any other people in my world. I didn't need any other friends. I didn't want them. I thought everything would be fine so long as I had Jessie, but then Skylar came along. She burst my happy bubble, and now Jessie doesn't care about me anymore. So how can I care about myself? I might get in trouble if my plan succeeds. In fact, I'm sure I will get in trouble. I will be in much, much more trouble than I was when I stabbed Megan in the hand with the compass in math class. I don't care. My head hurts, so does my heart. I just want this to be over with. I just want...
What's wrong, Lil? You've stopped drying the dishes? Oh, and I blink, because Skylar's right. I've been standing there staring into space and I wasn't even aware I was doing it. Don't worry, it's all right. I space out a lot too. Was something on your mind? I was just thinking about something. And what's that? I thought... And then I looked down at my feet, biting into my lower lip. I've been acting rather rude to you during your visit. That's a lie. I don't think I've been acting rude at all. Skylar's the rude one. She's the one who barged into my life and turned everything upside down, not me, and she's never even apologised. I think she did, actually. Not like I did. But I apologised to Skylar again, all the same, with a demure, I'm sorry that tastes like poison, because it's the only way I can make this plan work. It's the only way I can get rid of her. Don't need to apologise. I don't blame you for being on your guard. I'm a strange woman you never met before, and spending so much time with me must be tiring. It is rather tiring. Say surprised to find myself agreeing with Skylar for once. Maybe she isn't as thoughtless as I first imagined. In fact, she seems to understand my feelings rather well. She knows I hate her. Why is she still here? Is she trying to hurt me on purpose? But Jessie is right. Though I secretly think Jessie is all wrong. I should be more polite to you. I was thinking about that at dinner, actually. Is that why you were staring at me? Yes, I was thinking I should do something nice for you to show you I'm sorry. You don't need to go out your way for my sake. Talking with you is more than enough. But actions speak louder than words. That's what Dad always tells me. Well, how about this? Why don't you show me your sketchbook? I'm very, very interested in seeing your drawings. My sketchbook isn't very special. I could do something more exciting. Like what? You going to draw a picture of me? No. I shake my head. I thought I could take you on a walk to Zennor Head and I could tell you a story. Zennor Head? But we already went up there today and it's getting dark outside. No, but my story's best told at night. It's a really, really good story, I promise. Well, Jessie did say you had a good imagination. It isn't my imagination. This story really happened in Zennor hundreds of years ago. I thought you might like to hear it. Is it a ghost story? No, it's a love story. And you want to tell me it? That's right. It's because I hope you and Jessie can stay together and be happy just like the characters in the story. Oh, Lilac. Cute. And her eyes soften, and she smiles so prettily I almost forgot how much I hate her. Why are you thanking me? I ask her, because I don't understand why she looks so grateful. I only told her I'd tell her a story. Because you really are a sweet girl. I was afraid you didn't like me or I'd done something to upset you, but now I see I was worrying for nothing. You're very kind. Skylar sets one of the soapy plates back down in the sink and turns to me. Gotta haggle! An achievement. We haven't got a choice yet. She bends down so we're at eye level and then winds her arms around me in an embrace. I stand there stiffly like a china doll and stare into space, my eyes wide. I didn't expect to be hugged. I don't think I like it. The feeling of unfamiliar hands all over my body makes my skin crawl even more than the texture of slimy foods on my tongue. It's suffocating. It's stifling. wouldn't interfere with my plan, I would open one of the drawers, take out a kitchen knife, and stab Skylar with it right through her ribs. How dare she touch me? How dare she? But to my surprise, her embrace is very soft, and her hair tickles my cheeks, and she smells faintly of lavender. Peg isn't so bad after all. I like lavender. It actually feels nice. Why does it feel nice? I don't know. It's getting harder and harder for me to understand anything. That's pretty chilly outside, she says, wrapping her arms around herself and shivering.
The wind is colder at night than it was during the day. It runs through my short, choppy hair and whips at my cheeks until they turn bright red. Almost as red as Skylar's rust-colored hair and her rust-colored lips. Oof. No, I find myself thinking as I examine Skylar, her hair and lips aren't the color of rust. They're much too bright for that. They look more like blood. How appropriate. If Mrs. Lambert was here, she would probably call this observation of mine ironic. Mrs. Lambert taught us all about irony in class a few weeks ago. She said there is a special type of irony writers use in stories called dramatic irony, when the narrative significance of a character's words, actions, or appearance is clear to the reader, but unknown to the characters themselves. There are a few other kinds of ironies too, but they are very complex, and it was very hard for me to wrap my head around it. I wasn't the only one who struggled with the concept either. Even Isla, who is quite smart, was frowning and clicking the top of her mechanical pencil, which is something she does when she is confused. I think I understand what dramatic irony means now, though.
Ugh, these cliffs are so steep. Peering over the high cliffs that lead to the sharp and pointed rocks before, they make my legs feel weak. Don't you like heights? I can't say I'm a big fan. My parents took me on the London Eye when I was little, and I had to keep my eyes closed the whole time. I was terrified, and I was inside a little glass pod then. Is the London Eye the big wheel that spins around? That's right. Have you ever been on it? I've never been to London. I've just seen photographs online. It didn't look like it was that scary. Well, I was only 6 at the time, and I was a huge crybaby. I'm not quite as scared of heights now. But you still don't like them? No, I don't. That's a shame. We need to be a little closer to the edge of the cliff so I can tell my story. I think we're pretty close enough as it is, aren't we? No. We need to go right to the edge so we can see all of the sea below stretched out like a picnic blanket. A picnic blanket? You do really have a wee with words, Lilac. I like writing stories. You really are creative. I can't believe you can draw and write. I can't do either. Life isn't fair. Can't draw or write, but you're much prettier than I am. Well, thank you. But there's more to life than looks. People say that, but they don't mean it. Some of the girls at school tease me because I look ugly. Then that's very bad of them. You're not ugly in the slightest. You have a sweet heart-shaped face and lovely blue eyes. My hair is short and ratty, my nose is too big, and my eyebrows are the wrong shape, and I'm too skinny and pale. Well, a lot of that can be fixed, and you'll grow into your nose. Don't worry. And who's been telling you all that rubbish? Phoebe and Lucy and Megan. Mostly Megan. Those names sound familiar. I think your brother mentioned them to me. He said those girls give you a lot of grief. They do, but I try and ignore them. That's the best way to go about it. I'm sure they're just jealous because you're so smart and creative. I don't think they're jealous. Down at the ground. I wouldn't be jealous of me. That's because you're looking too closely at yourself. It's easy to see your imperfections if you stare at them. No one else is looking that hard, I promise, said, resting her hand on my shoulder.
I don't like the feeling of her hand on my shoulder. It's too heavy and it makes me uncomfortable. I want to shake it off, but I don't.
Shake it off.
Ooh. I want to push Skylar away from me, but I don't do that either. I just stand there staring, looking at the dark sky, which is studded with stars. The stars look like they are arranged in the sky haphazardly, without any order, but I know that isn't true. The stars all have fixed positions, and you can pick out certain shapes in them depending on which part of the world you live in.
No worries, Scarface. I'll catch you later. I'll be back tomorrow. We're doing
I don't like disorder.
The quarry.
Which is why I dislike McDonald's and the school canteen, but I do find it satisfying when something that looks disorderly is actually very neat and precise. All the stars and the planets have their own place in the night sky.
Oh dear.
I wish I had my own place too. I thought I did, but Skylar took it.
I don't know why I'm telling Skylar so much about myself. I don't want her reassurances or her sympathy, and I certainly don't want her pity. Why did I tell her so much about my life? Maybe it's because it has been such a long time since I felt like I could talk to anybody, and I'm tired of being alone. I pretend that I don't care that all my classmates make fun of me, but I'm only human. Even if my dad says I'm as cold as a rock, it still hurts. It is a hurt that I try to push deep down inside of me. But when it is late and I am lying awake in my bed at night sometimes, think about how very alone I am in this world, and it makes me sad. There's no reason for me to tell Skylar that, though. I would rather be talking to Jessie, but I can't because Skylar is here and she has taken me away from away from me. That is why I have to get rid of her. I have to now before I change my mind.
You got the hiccups there. We need to go closer to the edge of the cliff, I say decisively. I shrug Skylar's hand off my shoulder, which feels very warm and comforting, and walk forwards. I can hear the sea breaking against the jagged rocks below. The wind tugs at my hair and stings my cheeks scarlet. I was like, that's a really long Discord message. I changed mine to just join my Discord. And I realised, that's your message. Lil, Skylar calls after me, her voice carried on the cutting breeze. Are you sure it's safe to stand over there? I'll be fine. I know these cliffs well. I used to take walks here with Jessie a lot in the past. That was when Jessie still lived at home and he still loved me and I was the only girl in his life. The only one he cared about. But the wind's so strong tonight, I don't want you getting blown off the edge. I might be small, but I'm not that small. I'll be fine. I don't know. I'd feel terrible if you fall. I'd feel terrible if you fell. What in the world would I tell your brother or your parents? For a few brief moments, I consider abandoning my plan. Abandoning myself. It would be easy to pitch myself off the side of the cliff, the wind screaming in my ears and stinging my cheeks until my body smacked into the rocks below. It would be short and sharp, and though I would bleed a lot, I do not think it would hurt very much. I'd die quickly and Skylar would get into a lot of trouble.
Why didn't you look out for her? Why did you let her die? Jessie will turn against Skylar and the two of them will break up and then I will be dead. And I will stay dead because dead people don't get back up again. And it will be for nothing because I won't get to watch the moment when Skylar's heart breaks like she has broken mine. It is a stupid plan. I won't go through with it.
Have a good luck, Dan. Don't worry so much, I tell Skylar using the voice Dad always does when Mum is being particularly neurotic. I can't help but worry. I have two little brothers and I'm supposed to be the adult. You're not the adult now. I am, and I will tell you a story if you come and stand next to me. Well, alright. But I'll have to keep a hold on you so you don't slap. I won't. I would hope not. I examine her. Is Skylar actually worried about me, or is this one of her witchy tricks? Maybe she's trying to cast a spell on me like she did with my mother. I can feel my hatred for her beginning to waver the longer I stand here, but I can't let myself fall for her charms. I don't want Skylar to worry about me. She should be more worried about herself. Skylar takes a few steps forward. She stands by my side on the edge of the cliff, looking out at the dark night and the dark night sea. The moon is round, but not perfectly full, and half hidden by the clouds. When I look down, I can see the moon reflected in the ocean water, which ripples 300 feet beneath us and breaks on the rocks into white foam. The sky and the sea are both so very blue. It feels like I could take one step off the edge of the cliff and fly, weightlessly, like Wendy Darling into Neverland. Wow, you're alright? The sea really does look pretty from here. I told you so. I should have believed you. That doesn't seem like many people believe you, Lilac. What do you mean? Your parents are always picking on you. They don't seem to appreciate any of your accomplishments. I know it isn't right of me to criticise them since I'm a guest and all, but I did feel sorry for you. You don't need to be sorry for me. I'm used to it. But that's even worse. I can't imagine being belittled by my own family like that. My dad never really wanted me. I'm his second child from his second marriage, and he's never loved my mother as much as Jessie's mother, and he's never loved me as much as he loves Jessie. Did he tell you that? He doesn't tell me anything. Most of the time he ignores me, that's how I know. You don't ignore people if you care about them. How horrible. I thought your dad seemed like a nice man, but I can't stand the way he treats you. do people treat me like that? You poor thing. Would you like me to talk to him? Maybe he'll listen to me if he won't listen to you. You can try. And then I swallow, because Skylar won't be able to try if I go through my plan. She's acting nice to me as though she cares, like Jessie used to in the past, or Ashlyn, or Mrs. Curry, but she doesn't understand that she's the one who's making me miserable. I'm used to Dad ignoring me, and I've accepted that. I cannot accept this woman taking away the one thing I love more than anything else, then acting so nice about it. Why does she have to be kind to me? Why does she have to pretend that she cares? No one else cares, not even Jessie, so why should she? Lil, are you right? I'm fine. Why? You were staring into nothing again and you were shaking. I don't want you coming down with a cold. Maybe we should go back home. Home, she says, as though my home is her home now and my family is hers. How presumptuous. She already has a home with a loving mother and a father and 2 little brothers who adore her. She has much more than I do, but that's not enough for her. She wants to take my older brother from me and is the only person in this horrible world who loves me. Jessie was my world. Skylar has invaded my world. She's stealing everything from me. That is why I need to steal everything from her. We can't go home yet. I still haven't told you my story. Oh yes, your story. What is that about? Mermaids. Oh, that's right. You might not know it, but mermaids used to live in the sea near Zennor. One of those mermaids was called Stumbled over this last time. Morvaran, and she was the daughter of King Lear, who was the ruler of the ocean. I breathe in. I can taste salt on my tongue. I scoured the internet for information on this story when I was writing my essay for Mrs. Lambert. I looked at all sorts of websites. I tried really hard on that assignment, but I still got a D. At least it wasn't an F. I feel like a failure, though. One day, when Morvaran was sitting on a rock near Zennor Head, she heard a very clear and beautiful singing voice coming from the village of Zennor. She was entranced by the voice and came back the next day and the next, desperate to hear more of this beautiful song. This continued for weeks until Morvaran finally learned that the singing was coming from the church of St. Sonara during Mass. Morvaran went to her father, King Lear, and told him about the song and how badly she wanted to hear it sung in person. Her father was appalled at this idea. He knew the singing was made by humans, and he feared those humans would mistreat Morvaran if they saw her. Humans believed mermaids to be wicked creatures that sang sailors into their watery graves, and he did not want these humans harming his precious little girl. At first the king forbade his daughter to go into the village, but this made Morvaran cry. Feeling guilty and sorry for his beautiful daughter, King Lear gave Morvaran permission to go into Zennor in disguise, and told her not to let any humans see her.
The wind makes my skirt flutter around my legs. My skirt, like my clothes, was picked out by my mother. It is too big for me at the waist and much too long. Megan is right about me. I really am ugly, on the outside and the in.
Morvaran attended the church service that Sunday, wearing a long dress that covered her fish's tail. How did she walk? How? She opened the door to the church silently, so no one would hear her. She hops, slipped inside as the choir began its final hymn. The congregation were listening to the choir, so nobody heard or saw Morvaran. Morvaran listened to the choir too. She thought their singing was beautiful, but one voice stung out above all others. It was a sweet man's voice, so pure it sounded angelic. The voice belonged to a man called Matthew. He was young and very handsome. The more he sang, the more Morvaran fell for him until she was utterly under his spell. Morvaran wished she could stay in the church and listen to Matthew's singing, but she knew if she lingered, then she would be seen by the other humans. She crept out of the church before the song could end and ran back to the shore. She dove back into the water, which was cold and dark but familiar and safe, and she promised her father she would not go into the village of man any more. She did not keep her promise.
The sound of the waves breaking against the rocks mingles with the cold breeze. The stars continue to shine above me in reliably fixed patterns that never change. If only life could be so simple. If only.
Morvaran tried to keep away from the church, but she couldn't. She kept thinking about Matthew, and so she slipped out of the water and put on a human disguise the following Sunday. She slipped through the old wooden doors quietly and stood in the shadows where no one could see her, and slipped out again just as quietly so that nobody knew she had ever been there. This continued for a year. Nobody saw Morrivan and nobody spoke to her. She continued to watch Matthew from afar, in silence, her love for him growing stronger and stronger every time he sang. Morrivan knew Matthew would never return her feelings, but she didn't care. She loved him so much, and she was happy to watch him from the distance. An unrequited romance was better than being rejected outright. How could love between a mermaid and a human ever flourish? They were just too different. It was better to keep her feelings to herself. That way she could never ever get hurt. At least that was what Morrivan thought until one night.
The clouds above me look gray and steely, like barbed wire. I wonder if it's going to rain.
On this night, Morrivan was so captivated by Matthew singing that she forgot to leave the church before the last song ended. Matthew's voice, when he reached the final high note of the piece, was so pure and beautiful that Morrivan sighed deeply in love and admiration. The sigh was so very sweet and long that it caught Matthew's attention. Matthew looked up from his hymn book and saw Morrivan at the back of the church. She was so beautiful with her pale skin and her fair hair that she took his breath away. Matthew was enchanted, but Morrivan was terrified. Her father had told her she could not let a human see her, and she had already broken his trust by returning to Zennor so many times over the last year. Morrivan tried to flee. She dashed towards the door even as Matthew called after her to stop. She tore through the church's ground and almost made it to the shore when she tripped on her long dress, which hid her fish's tail. Seriously, how is she dashing? Or fleeing? She would have fallen to the ground, but she felt a pair of strong arms wrap round her waist, holding her steady. It was Matthew.
My fingers twitch at my sides. They feel cold, like they've been encased in ice. It's unusual for me to speak so much, and it's making my throat feel dry.
Matthew, who had fallen in love with Morrivan, asked her who she was and where she had come from and whether she would stay with him. Morrivan could not answer any of these questions. She only cried because she was a mermaid and she knew their love was impossible even though she loved him. Morrivan told Matthew this, but he was young and stubborn and he persisted. It doesn't matter to me who you are, Matthew told Morrivan. You and I may be different, but you are the most beautiful creature I've ever seen and I never want to be parted from you. I am happy to hear that, but the villagers will never accept our love, Morrivan told Matthew tearfully. If they see me, they will kill me. Then I will have to live in the ocean with you, Matthew said. Morrivan tried to make Matthew change his mind, but it was too late. Matthew scooped Morrivan up into his arms and ran with her towards the shore. By this point, the congregation had caught up to them. They saw Morrivan in Matthew's arms, and they saw her fishtail poking out the hem of her dress, and they instantly knew what she was. They told Matthew that mermaids were wicked monsters that lured men to their deaths, and he could not go with her into the water because it would kill him. Then let it kill me, Matthew said. I don't care what happens to my body. All I care about is being with this woman whom I love, no matter who she may be, what she may be. The congregation tried to stop Matthew, but he was too fast. He dove into the ocean, still holding Morrivan, and the two of them were gone. The people of Zennor never saw Matthew or Morrivan again. Ever again. Oh, bloop. The Mermaid of Zennor! I got the title of the game in the game! Well, in the achievement.
Oh, we're done then, right? That's the end.
We've still got
the title, that's it.
4 more achievements.
I inhale deeply, my fingers trembling at my sides. The tale of the Mermaid of Zennor is a long one, and putting it into my own words has tired me. I feel exhausted.
And? What happened to Morrivan and Matthew? Nobody knows. That's where the story ends. But it can't end like that. I want to know if they had a happy ending. If this was a movie, there'd be a dramatic final kiss and a whole wedding scene. Well, this isn't a movie. This is an old folk story, and they don't always have happy endings. But Matthew and Morrivan did stay together, didn't they? When I first read the story, I thought they stayed together for a long time until they turned grey. But I'm not sure now. Why aren't you sure? What changed? Life. I say sadly because it's true. I was foolish once, and I really did believe love could flourish between people destined not to keep apart. I thought Jessie would love me forever. I was wrong. Come on, Lil. You can't end the story like that. Tack on a happy epilogue at least. I can't do that. I would like to believe they live together, but things aren't always that simple. Oh dear, you're so cynical for your age. Cynical, I'm just being practical. But aren't you too young to be so unflinchingly realistic? Can't you let yourself believe they had a happy ending? I would like to believe it, but I know from experience that things don't always work out that way. Not for people who are different. Lil. She rests a gentle hand on my shoulder. You might be a bit different, but you can have a happy ending too, you know? No. And I can hear the roar of the waves choking inside my ears. Echoing, not choking. Echoing inside my ears. You don't know. Don't try to act like you do. Well, maybe I don't know entirely, but I still want to help. I'm here for you. You're here for me? That's right. Stare down at the sharp pointed rocks 300 feet beneath me. There's a very specific number that keeps on getting mentioned.
It's like the fact that they keep mentioning the D on the paper.
The what?
The D on the paper about the Mermaid of Zennor. The English paper.
Huh?
Hello?
I'm trying to process. I heard the words you said.
They keep mentioning certain details, like the 300 feet, or the fact that she got a D on the English paper.
Oh,
like...
the English paper. Sorry. I was like, you said paper and I immediately went to newspaper, and thus that increased my confusion. What you said was perfectly clear. I just misinterpreted it. We're good now. Right. Yes, they do mention details. I think that's because she likes details. Anyway, you should probably be reading this bit because I did a lot and I need tea.
I stare down at the sharp, pointed rocks 300 feet beneath me. The waves break against them, churning up white foam like a witch's cauldron. I can feel my stomach churning, too. My fingers clench into fists.
I never asked you to be here for me. I never asked you to come here. I know that. I thought it might come as a shock to you. I told Jesse he should let you know about me in advance so you could prepare yourself, but Jesse didn't care. It's not that he didn't care. He just wasn't thinking. Exactly. He wasn't thinking about me. Don't be like that, Lil. Jesse thinks about you a lot. I know he loves you. Not as much as he loves you. That's different. I'm his girlfriend. I might not be his girlfriend forever, but you'll always be his sister, Lil. You will always have a place in his heart, but I'm only here for the present. You'll always come first in his heart. That's what I thought too.
The waves are still smashing against the sharp, jagged rocks.
Hey, Ministry.
My eyes are roaring.
Roaring?
There's so much noise. I want to drown it all out.
You don't need to be jealous of me. I'm not going to steal Jesse from you, I promise.
That is what she says, but she's already stolen him from me. Thinking about it logically, I should have expected this to happen. Skylar is pretty and I am not. Skylar is kind and I am not. Skylar is polite and I am not. Skylar is everything I am not, and everything I will never be, because Skylar is normal and I am different, and why should Jessie love me more than her? Everything about her is better than me. Does she
yeah.
not?
Sorry. Yeah, so there's a character called Jessie, who is currently being voiced by Jessie, who is the voice in my head. No, otherwise known as Radical Sniper or Jessie_RS99. We're doing a co-streamy thing. And we were like, yay, we'll have a game where, we'll be brother and sister, and it won't be like an awkward romantic relationship, which always seems to happen when we do visual novels. And then the sister has a crush on the brother. So it's an awkward romantic one-sided relationship. So yeah. Sorry, Jessie, continue.
Can we take a quick short break?
A quick short break? We can do indeed. I'll get more tea, actually. Okay. We're going to take a quick short break. I'm going to run an ad. I'm going to get some tea. We will be back momentarily. Right. I'm back. Jesse looks like he's back. You back, Jesse?
Yep, I'm back.
Cool. Are you ready to continue, or do you need a few moments still?
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent.
I didn't do an ad. I never do ads.
That's fine. I just run ads because I have a button for it, and it's right where I press my tea break screen. So it means that, then people don't get pre-roll. Mm-hmm. And I get a little bit of money from it.
They I see the timer on my screen and I'm like, oh yeah, but Not much you can do.
Hmm. Oh, does yours do it
Like,
automatically?
I don't see the timer there now, but it would always say like pre-roll off or pre-roll on.
Yeah.
Like it gives you some time if you run them, but like it's not consistent. Like you can't just completely turn off ads.
No, but if I run 3 minutes of ads before I start the stream, then I get 60 minutes of no pre-roll, which I will try and do so people coming into my stream don't get hit by pre-roll.
Like, yeah, so
But I don't want to run 3 minutes
it,
every hour, so you know.
I can look at the ad revenue in the last month.
I
Oh
get like
boy.
$2 or $3.
Yep.
Which is better than I
About
used to
the
get. I used to get like 5 cents. So, you know, I think I got about $5 from Extra Life ads last year just for one stream. So, you know, sometimes it's worth it. But I do it to get rid of pre-roll, which is useful, especially at the beginning of the stream. And if I'm having a break, there is literally nothing that anybody is missing. But I wouldn't set it to do 3 minutes every hour because it's going to cut me off in the middle of a sentence then.
Apparently I recently ran an ad anyway, so that button's grayed out, so I don't know. But I will start reading.
Yes.
Does she not realize that by being kind to me, she is actually hurting me even more? I wanted to be the princess, but now I'm starting to wonder whether I am actually the wicked witch of this story. No princess is as ugly as me, and no princess's thoughts are as ugly as mine. I want to kill Skylar. I want to see her smash her head against the rocks. I want her to bleed and to scream and die. But because she doesn't die, then Jesse will never love me again. But did Jesse ever love me to begin with? I can feel the weight of Skylar's hand against my shoulder. It's far too heavy. My heart hurts. Everything hurts so much. It hurts, and it is all her fault. I'm tired of suffering, and that's why.
Oh. We can
Save!
save.
And an achievement. Time to decide.
Lilac shapes her destiny. Okay, so return. I'll make the story a happy ending. Have a happy ending. I wish the story had a happy ending. So the question is,
Whose happy ending?
yes, that is exactly the question.
These aren't
Why?
very clear what choice we're making.
It really isn't. So there are 3 achievements left. In Ruins, Understanding, and First Step. Lilac falls to pieces. Lilac reconsiders. And Lilac perseveres. Okay. But there's only 2 choices. But it's lucky we're in at the end because we've got what? 45 minutes or so before you've got to go round the corner for your trumpet lesson, or
Yep.
is it trumpet?
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we can do both of them if depending on how long. But if we only have time for one.
One is always canon.
I'll make
So what do we
this.
want to be our canon ending?
I'll make the story have a happy ending. To me, that one.
That sounds like she's gonna push her.
Yeah, that one implies shove her off the cliff. I wish the story had a happy ending. Implies, you know, she's not going to do anything. They're going to go home, and Jesse's going to be happy that she spent time with Skylar. But I mean, if she pushes him off the cliff, pushes her off the cliff, Jesse's never going to forgive her.
Right.
So maybe we should go with the not psychotic one.
Which is, I think, the second one.
Yes. So I wish this story had a happy ending.
I like it.
Okay. It isn't fair I say, and all of a sudden my eyes feel damp and my cheeks feel wet and everything hurts. It isn't fair.
I crumple to the ground, my knees colliding with the cold, damp grass. I'll probably get ugly green grass stains on my skirt, and then my mother will scold me, but I can't bring myself to care right now. Nothing matters anymore.
Isn't fair, I say again, and my eyes feel hot and my throat is choked and my body is trembling from the injustice of it all. I can't stand it. Lilac? She sounds alarmed.
She kneels down before me, both of her hands on my shoulders, and she stares into my eyes.
Lilac, what is it? What's wrong? Everything's wrong. And I gasp fitfully as I try and draw in enough air, but the air feels strangely thin up on the cliff and my whole head is swimming. Everything. What do you mean, everything? She says, trying to keep her voice calm and level, even though I'm screaming and crying right in front of her. Did I say something to upset you? No, this isn't about you! I yell, raising my head to meet her eyes, and all of a sudden I realise how true that statement is. This isn't about Skylar, not really.
I fixated on her because she was something new and unfamiliar in my life, and it was easy to blame her for my problems. I told myself she was an evil, wicked witch. I thought if I killed her, Jesse would love me again, and we could have a happily ever after ending, like a fairy story. I wanted so badly to believe that. But I'm 13 years old, I am not a child, and I know fairy stories aren't really real, and there's no such thing as happy endings. If I murdered Skylar because pushing her off a cliff would be murder, then I would go to prison, and who could ever love a murderer? That wouldn't help me at all. It would only make things worse. I wish I could make this story have a happy ending, but I'm only 13 years old and I don't have that sort of power. I can't make anything happen. I can only hope and pray and say I just want it to be happy, I want it to be loved, and have people who love me, but that never seems to work. Oh, that was actually a line.
Was it? Oh!
Or maybe not, I don't know.
That's fine, we'll carry. What do you mean? She's kneeling next to me on the grass, and she must be getting ugly. Green grass stains on her sleek black trousers, but she doesn't seem to care. What doesn't work, Lil? 13. We've always been 13. Our brother is 18. Skylar's 18.
19.
They're at university. 18, 19. First year at uni, so...
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing works. Sniffling... tell her fretfully, sniffling a trail of snot back up my nose. Yeah, so 13-year-old plotting murder against brother's girlfriend because she's in love with her brother. It sort of fits in with the weird sort of spooky vibe I'm going for this week because of Halloween. It wasn't intentional. We didn't think this, when we first got picked out the game. But it sort of worked that like the first half we did, it's a couple of weeks now, wasn't as spooky. Now it's a little bit more spooky. Spooky. I try and be a good girl in school, but I still get bullied. Isla and Phoebe and Lucy and Megan... Oh, no, hang on. Isla and Phoebe and Lucy and Megan throw things at me on the bus and they call me a nasty word that we don't use. And in PE class, they hit me with their hockey sticks and say it's a mistake, but I know it isn't a mistake, and so does the teacher, but they never get into trouble. Nobody gets into trouble when they're mean to me, because I'm the problem child, and I stabbed Megan in the hand with a compass in maths class last year, and everyone thinks I deserve it. Oh, Lil. And her eyes are moist and gentle. I'm talking so quickly, she probably doesn't understand what I'm saying, but she doesn't try to interrupt me. She massages my shoulders with her fingers, which I should hate, but right now it doesn't feel so bad, and she says, "You don't deserve that. Nobody deserves to be bullied." But people bully me anyway. They do it because I'm different and they don't understand me, but they don't even try and understand me. They don't want to understand me, neither do Mum and Dad. They say I'm a nuisance and they always snap at me for things that I can't help, or they pretend I don't exist because I'm a bother, and it's easier for them if I ignore me, but it isn't easier for me. I can't imagine it would be. I can't imagine how you must be feeling at all, but that does sound hard. I can imagine exactly how she's feeling. Though I didn't stab someone with a compass. I did bite someone, but I was like 8. It is hard. I choke on my tears, and though my heart hurts, it hurts a little less than it did. I think she's the first person she's been able to actually speak about it and have empathy as a response, because Mrs. Corey just feels like, you know, Lilac's the one that needs to change. It's rare that people ever acknowledge how hard things must be for me. My mother's
I was
always...
gonna read if you wanted.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, go for it.
My mother always talks about how difficult I make her life. My father never talks to me at all. Skylar is different from them. She seems to really care about me. It's funny, I thought I hated Skylar. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want anything to do with her at all, because she was the cruel and wicked witch dressed in black, who cast a magic spell on my family and made them all love her. That was what I thought, but perhaps she's not so wicked after all. I never told anybody how I feel before. I've been keeping all these emotions locked up inside me because last time I let my feelings get the better of me, I stabbed Megan in the hand with a compass. And then I was suspended from school, and I was diagnosed with autism in the hospital, and my mother told me she was very, very ashamed of me. At the time, I didn't know if she was ashamed that I stabbed Megan, or because I'm autistic, or both. I've tried to keep my emotions to myself ever since. I wore a blank, apathetic mask when Isla and Megan and Phoebe and Lucy threw things at me on the bus and called me mean names. I tried to pretend it didn't hurt, but it still did. Dad ignores me. Mom scolds me. Even Jesse, who was always so nice and kind and understanding, only wanted me around so he could do things he liked, like going to odd castles or playing his guitar or watching horror movies. He didn't ask about me. Maybe he never cared about me as much as I thought, or maybe I got so good at pretending nothing was wrong he never thought to ask. He thought I was fine. I wasn't fine.
It's hard for me, and nobody seems to care that it's hard for me because they're so busy fussing about how I make things hard for them. Say my whole body's shaking like it's going to fall apart. Maybe it already has. That is very selfish and wrong of them. Skylar says, her fingers rubbing my shoulders in slow, comforting motions. You are not a bother, Lil. You're your own human, and you have worth and value, and nobody should make you feel like you don't. Skylar. And I cough. Even more tears are rising to my eyes. I look at her, sniffling, wiping my eyes with the back of my arm, and I have never felt smaller or softer or more flexible. Nope. Or more fragile. Where the heck did flexible come from? Dad says I'm old and... I'm wording wrong today. Give me a minute. My emotions are getting the better of me because I am, like, feeling this extremely hard. This is basically me at 13. As I said, aside from stabbing someone with a compass. I did call one of my bullies a bitch very loudly to her face in front of half the school. I was a hero for a day and I was absolutely freaking terrified. So, yeah. Dad says I'm cold and I'm feeling like a lump of stone. He has never been more wrong. I do too have feelings. I have so many complicated, conflicting feelings. I don't know what to do with them, and I know nobody else wants to hear about them, so I bury them. I buried them inside me so deep down they turned into diamonds. Now they're cutting my insides open. I don't know what to do, I tell Skylar. I act like I know what to do, but I never really know. I don't know anything. Now that isn't true. You're a smart girl, and I'm sure you know some things. No, I don't. I thought I knew the truth. I thought you were a wicked witch, but you're not. Megan is a witch, and so are my mother and father, and all of the people that ever been mean to me. They're the wicked ones. You thought I was a witch? And a small smile rises to her red lips. Well, that might be fun. But witches are evil and wicked, and you're not wicked. Not all witches are wicked. Some of them tell fortunes with tarot cards, and they make herbal remedies that heal people, and they have lots of black cats. The witches in fairy tales, they're ugly, and they have their big noses, and they wear black, and they boil children in cauldrons and eat their bones. I do a lot of black.
This took a turn.
But I don't think I'd like to eat a child. There'll be too many bones. The human body has 206 bones. I read it on the internet. I didn't know that. See, you do know a lot of things. I don't know anything useful, and I was wrong about the things I thought I knew because you're not a witch. I might not be a witch, but I can be wicked when I want. She giggles. My younger cousins think I'm very wicked indeed when I babysit them and I tell them to go to bed by 9 and I don't let them eat any ice cream. I don't like ice cream. I tell her, because food is a nice normal topic and it doesn't make me want to cry. I don't like slimy food. What foods do you like? Skylar asks me, as though she really truly does care about my likes and dislikes. It's almost like she's actually interested in me, not just as an object of ridicule or curiosity, but a real person. Mum has never ever asked me what I like. I've lived with Mum for all of 13 years, but she's shown far less interest in me as a person than Skylar has over 2 days. I like hard, dry, crumbly foods like biscuits or toast or crackers, I tell her. I like most meat too, as long as it isn't greasy, and flaky pastries that don't have any slimy fillings. I see. I'll have to keep that in mind when you visit Jessie and me in London. You would let me visit you? Of course. I like you a lot, Lil, and I know Jessie loves you, and we'd both be happy if you came to stay. Does Jessie love me? He does. I know he can be a bit thoughtless sometimes, but he really does care about you. He's always worrying about you. He was afraid your mother and father wouldn't treat you very well when he was gone, and maybe he was right. Mum and Dad have never been nice to me. I'm used to it. But you don't like being used to it, do you? I shake my head. Then I'll talk to them, she says firmly, her expression set. Jessie and I will argue on your behalf, Lil. We won't let them mistreat you. They've never hit me. Tell her, because I don't want to think my situation is more serious than it is, and if she scolds my parents, they might get angry at me for telling tales. It doesn't matter. They don't need to hit you. They talk over you and they ignore you and they make you feel bad, and that's just as horrible. It's been horrible. I agree with her, my voice quiet now, after my outburst. I know other people have it worse than I do, so I thought I should be quiet and ignore it, but there's a limit to how many things I can ignore. It builds and builds and builds until you feel like you're going to explode. I nod. Well, I don't want to say I know how you feel, because I don't. I've only known you for 2 days, and that would be presumptuous of me to think I understand everything, but I do know that I don't want you to be sad. You care about my happiness? That's right. And so does Jessie. We both care about you. I'm used to people caring about me. And the idea is so strange and foreign that it makes me frown. Well, you should get used to it, because I'm going to do my very best to cheer you up. You're such a pretty girl, and it's a shame you frown so much. I don't have much to smile about, and I'm not pretty. I think you're pretty. You're just saying that. It isn't true. It's true to me. You have very lovely blue eyes and smooth skin, much smoother than mine when I was 13, and your hair is sleek and glossy. You almost remind me of a kitten. I'm not a kitten. I'm a human. That's right. You're a human with feelings, and I think your parents need to be reminded of that. Skylar. And they blink at her with my blue eyes, which seem to be getting bluer by the minute, and blush. What? I frown. Go on, then
Jesse
give me a
made me
break.
apologize to Skylar yesterday, but I didn't feel like apologizing. The apology was forced from me, and it tasted bitter on my unwilling tongue. I was determined to hate her back then, but I'm not anymore.
No, we're not pushing her off a cliff, Dan, because she is lovely and made me feel seen for the first time in my life, and we had a bit of a moment. There is the option to go back and push her off the cliff, but I'm not sure I want to. Did you have a good walk? And sorry, Jessie.
I'm sorry, I say, and this time I really do mean it. I'm sorry that I hated her. I'm sorry that I was mean to her. I'm sorry I thought about killing her. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I would apologize to her hundreds of times if that would wash away the unjust hatred I felt towards her, which almost resulted in me doing something wicked and violent I would never ever be able to take back. To my surprise, however, Skylar smiles. She ruffles my hair just like Jessie always used to. Her skin smells faintly of lavender.
I like lavender. We did make a friend. We're made of friends. You don't need to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. I thought about doing something wrong. But you didn't, and it's your actions that define who you are, not your thoughts. I have a lot of wicked thoughts. Sometimes it makes me wonder whether I'm really a witch. You're not a witch, and you're not wicked. You're only 13 years old. Maybe other people have been mean to you, maybe you've been mean to them back, but that doesn't make you bad. So sure. That's normal to be unsure of yourself at your age. The doctor told me I wasn't normal. You may process things differently from other people, but that isn't a bad thing. You're not bad. I don't want you to think you are, at least. You deserve to be happy. Don't know if I can, though. Happiness seems so far away. And all of a sudden I feel so tired. Maybe it is. And you might face more obstacles than everybody else, but I hope you can make it in the end. I really, truly do. The hug!
Another one! Skylar wraps her arms around me in a warm, gentle hug. My body tenses. I don't like being hugged. I don't like the sensation of unfamiliar fabric against my skin. And I don't like being in such close proximity to strangers. Makes me feel uncomfortable. At least it usually does, but Skylar is very soft, like lavender. And when she hugs me, it makes me think that things might not be too terrible after all. I have some doubts, but Skylar keeps her word. We are sitting in the living room the next day when Skylar broaches the subject. She says she has something she wants to talk about, but first she asks me for my permission, which is quite novel. Few people seem to care how I feel.
I'll only talk about it if it's alright with you. Do you mind, Lilac?
I shrink in on myself, my fingers digging into my thighs. I'm not sure if I really do mind. After my conversation with Skylar, I feel very uncertain and unsure of almost everything. I'm worried if Skylar talks to my parents, they will be angry. They will be angry at me for telling the tall tales, and they'll be angry at Skylar for listening to me. My dad has a short temper. He might lash out at Skylar. He will shout at her and tell her to mind her own business, and then Jesse will be upset, and he will shout at Dad, and then everybody will start shouting. They will all shout about, and I will sit there feeling small and stupid and guilty. I do not want to make anybody angry. I do not think I'm worth it. Sometimes I wish I could disappear. But if I do not tell anybody how I feel, they will never know, and then I will never be able to be happy. Perhaps it is better if Skylar tells my dad how I feel after all. She is better with words than I am, and she will probably be able to describe everything better than I could. My dad is scary, but Skylar does not seem to be afraid. She is very brave. I wish I could be like her.
Our new obsession now. It's great. You can tell my parents what happened.
What did happen? My dad asks, sitting up straighter on the sofa. What have you done now, Lilac?
I haven't done anything. I say quietly and my dad snorts.
That's rubbish. You're always up to something, slinking around the house like a bad smell. She didn't do something to upset you, did she, Skylar?
If she has, I'm terribly sorry. I've tried to raise her well, but she's so obtuse, she never listens.
Sometimes I don't know why we bother. Oh, she winces. Skylar winces too.
Yes. Lilac didn't do anything to upset me. Though I wonder if she would still be saying that if she knew I'd planned to kill her. She's the one who's upset.
Lilac upset? She's always been a moody madam. You should just ignore her.
Like you always do, you mean? And there's silence. Dad looks stunned, so does my mother. Temperature in the room seems to drop by several degrees, though I know in reality it does not. There is a long, uncomfortable silence.
Then my dad says, "What do you mean?"
I mean what I said. Lilac is your daughter. You should give her a bit of attention from time to time, but you never do. You act like she doesn't exist, and when you remember that she does, you treat her like a nuisance. Skylar narrows her eyes. She's breathing heavily and her shoulders are shaking. I've never seen her look more upset. As any wonder she looks so gloomy all the time. She doesn't wait for a response. I suppose this is what Mrs. Lambert would call a rhetorical question. That's because you've been ignoring her.
What? Where's all this coming from? What has Lilac been telling you?
She didn't need to tell me much. I have eyes, ears too. I've heard and saw enough for myself to deduce what's going on.
There's nothing going on. He always smiles when he looks at Skylar, but he isn't smiling now. I've been as good a father as I can to Lilac, but she makes it so bleeding difficult. It'd be a different story if she was a nice, normal child, but...
You shouldn't see that about your own daughter. Lilac is Lilac, and you should love her for who she is. You can't wish her into being somebody else. It's cruel.
I'm not cruel. But he sounds weaker now, less self-assured. I look after her, don't I? I give her enough food to eat, and I send her to school. I'm doing the best I can with the hand I was dealt. But you don't understand what it's like.
No, I don't understand. I'm sure you have your own problems, but Lilac is still your daughter. You ought to take more of an interest in her. Isn't that your duty?
My duty? His face grows very red. Who are you to tell me about my duty? You're still a child yourself.
I know I have a lot to learn, and I don't mean to be rude. You've been very good to me. I just wish you could extend the same courtesy to your daughter.
What I sputters indignantly, his face turning redder and redder. His hands clench into fists, and for a few moments I worry he might lose his temper and really hit Skylar. I shrink in on myself. Oh.
I was just gonna say, it felt like this one's a bit like, I shrink in on myself. I want to disappear. This is all my fault. I never wanted any of this to happen. I am not worth it. Maybe it would have been better if I had not been born at all. But time passes, and Skylar remains staunch and unmoving, and my father eventually buckles. He breathes in deeply, massaging his pulsing temple with his fingers. Then he lets his hands fall to his laps. They are not clenched into fists anymore.
Lilac, is this true? Have I really been cruel to you?
I open my mouth. I close it. I look down at my feet, not knowing what to say. I have never heard my father speak like this before, not to me at least. This is the same sad, defeated voice he always uses when he brings up Jessie's mother, but my dad is big and tall and fancies himself as being strong, so he doesn't like to bring up Jessie's mother. He doesn't like to be weak. The man sitting in front of me seems almost like a stranger. I don't know what to say. There is a long and awkward pause. I try to gather my thoughts, my head bowed. I do not think you're a bad father. You've never hit me, at least. Oh, that is a low bar. You are not so terrible, but sometimes when I'm with you, I feel terrible. I breathe in. My eyes sting. When I try to talk, you don't listen. Or it looks like I annoy you, so I stop talking. I thought that would make you happy, but it doesn't. I don't know how to make you happy. I'm trying, but it's hard. I just want us all to be happy. Lilac? Her voice wavers. Is that true? Is that true? I wouldn't say it if it wasn't. Oh, Lilac. She sighs. I thought you were just being difficult to spite me, but maybe I was being thoughtless. We've never seen eye to eye, have we? No, well, you are taller than me. My mother laughs, but it isn't a happy laugh. That isn't what I meant. It seems like we're always talking past each other, aren't we? I was never able to talk with you like your brother could. You seemed happy with him, but not with me, and to be honest, it made me feel jealous.
You were jealous of me?
Yes, she confesses softly. I know I shouldn't have been, but it was very petty. But how else would I supposed to feel after being rejected by my own daughter? I wasn't rejecting you, and if I was, I didn't mean to. I was just being myself. I never wanted to make anybody sad. And I never wanted to make you sad either, Lilac. Somehow it just all happened. No, Jesse is not in the past tense. Jesse is still present. He's just not currently visible on the scene. And he's also still in here. Well, now you know it's happened. Maybe you can make it not happen? I don't want us to fight. I don't want to fight either, believe you me. I don't. I hate living in such a desolate house of all of us sitting in separate rooms and not talking. We're not like a real family.
I've tried. God knows I've tried, but work has been so stressful. Everything's been mounting up. Maybe I was ignoring Lilac and you, Heather. I thought that was for the best, but maybe I was being unfair. My dad swallows. He looks between my mother and I, his expression unusually gentle. I'm sorry, Lilac. I'm sorry to you too, Heather. Skylar's right. As much as I hate to admit it, I've been a bit of a lapse.
I never
I
thought
never thought I would hear my own father apologize to me about anything. I think this might be the first time it has happened. Feels like a milestone. Certainly it is an achievement. It didn't bleep.
No! It didn't bleep! It was not an achievement.
I still do not think my dad will ever really true to grow to love me, and I do not know if I could ever love him. He has hurt me too much. It is because of him that I exist, but I do not feel much closer to him than I would a stranger on the street. It might be too late for us already. But maybe my dad will learn to like me, or maybe tolerate me, even if he cannot love me. I'm not entirely convinced that things will get better, even with Skylar's help. But I will try to be optimistic for once in my life. That is all I can really do. I cling to this fragile hope during the rest of the Christmas holidays. I have never found it easy to be happy, but it comes more naturally when I am with Skylar. She is kind and gentle, and she seems to understand me like nobody else does. I wonder if that is because she, unlike all the others, actually wants to understand me. I show her my drawings of my anime girls, even though it is embarrassing, and she compliments me so sincerely that I blush. We go on walks together during the day, her, Jessie, and me, and in the evenings we sit in the living room together and watch the silly horror movies with the bad special effects that Jessie covets so much. Skylar tells me about living in London, and her two brothers, and her family dog. She tells me stories about her childhood and her school friends, and the teachers she disliked and the handsome art teacher she had a crush on. I have never had a crush on a teacher, I have only ever liked my brother. But when I see Jessie and Skylar together, laughing, arms linked, I do not feel as angry as I did before. It still hurts, but is a bearable kind of hurt. I do not feel like my chest is being split open or my heart is being cracked in two, which is a good thing. Skylar's giggly, embarrassed stories about her art teacher make me wonder whether I love Jessie at all, in the grand romantic way you read about in fairy tales. Maybe I was mistaken about my feelings. I never realized it until now, but there is more than one way to love somebody.
Woohoo, we finally got there.
Love, but there is family love, and also friendship love. These feelings are all called love, but they are not the same feeling. Is it any wonder I got so confused?
100%.
How can other people distinguish between all these forms of love? There are too many to keep track of. I ask Skylar this, and she smiles and says most people don't know. I suppose that's why relationships can be so messy sometimes, and people get divorced and couples stay together who seem to hate each other, like my dad and my mom. It is a lot for me to fathom. These things will probably never come to me as easily as they do to other people. But I am not other people. Maybe some things will never come easily to me. It doesn't really seem fair at all. But then again, the world isn't. I spend an almost happy Christmas with Jessie and Skylar and my mother and my father. It is almost happy because Skylar is talkative and cheerful, and she makes an effort to include me in all the conversations. The food is good too, and for once my mother does not insist on dousing my turkey and roast potatoes and carrots and gravy. She actually listens to me. Well, she listens to Skylar, but Skylar listens to me, so I suppose that is more or less the same thing.
It's progress.
This is not completely happy because the atmosphere around the dinner table is a bit awkward, and my dad doesn't really speak to me, but that is nothing new. He almost never speaks to me. At least he doesn't shout. I feel sorry when I have to say goodbye to Jessie and Skylar, but I know it is not the end of the world. Jessie promises he will keep in contact, and so does Skylar. I worry that my parents will go back to the way they always were with the house empty again. Jesse's bread stripped, his covers folded away. My dad does become more distant, and my mother stops smiling so much, but I think they're making a bit of an effort. My dad at least tries to speak to me, though he doesn't always know what to speak about. My mother catches herself, though not literally, before she can scold me on several occasions.
Perhaps they are not doing their best, but they are doing something. I still dread going back to school, though. I've been working hard to be happy. It's not as easy as the smiling people in the toothpaste adverts make it look, but I'm afraid the bullies will ruin all that. It is hard to smile when you are being called a word, and people are throwing chewing gum wrappers at your head.
I wait at the bus stop on the first day back to school, my head bowed and my hands clenched together at my front. My uniform feels strange after being folded in my wardrobe unworn for so long. It refuses to conform to my body properly. It is small and tight and pinched around the shoulders, and my ugly brown school shoes, that is something else Megan teases me about, are hurting my feet. Maybe I've grown during Christmas. I did eat more than I usually do. I glance up and down the street. My heart feels like it's doing somersaults in my chest, even though I know it isn't. It's a very cold January morning. Where's a coat? The sky is grey and overcast, and the cold wind tugs at the hem of my skirt. My school skirt stops below my knees, but it does nothing to protect me from the cold. I shudder. If I am freezing, I wonder how Megan must feel. Her skirt is even shorter than me. Boys always jostle to walk past Megan when we have to go to the IT or the science departments, which are on the second floor, so they can look up her skirt. Our head of year, Mr. Morgan, always scolds Megan about her skirt, but she laughs and shakes her head and ignores him. Why is she even looking anyway? She says to Isla and Phoebe and Lucy. I should report him, he's such a creep. I wonder if that's why Megan is so cross all the time. She must be freezing because of her skirt. Maybe her parents are too poor to buy a skirt that fits properly, or maybe they don't love her enough to care. Is she sad and lonely like I am? But Megan has a lot of friends at school, and I only have Ashlyn. Megan can't be lonely. I think she's just mean. She would definitely be mean to me when she sees me. She'd probably even be more vicious than usual because it's been almost 2 weeks since she last saw me, and there isn't very much to do in Cornwall. She must have been bored. Making fun of me seems to be her favourite pastime. I think she should get more hobbies. She should get a life, then maybe she can leave my life alone. My hands are cold. I bring them to my face and blow on them. My palms are red. I'm the only person waiting at the bus stop. Zennor is tiny, and I'm the only person here who goes to St. Ives School. The bus is late. Maybe it won't come after all. Maybe it's crashed and toppled and overturned, and Ida and Phoebe and Lucy and Megan are all dead. I will never have to think about Megan or her short skirt ever again. That would be a wonderful Christmas present. I think I would like it even better than the colourful Copic markers that Jessie bought me, and I like those a lot. Of course, I know it's very unlikely that this has happened. Things in life do not always work out the way you want. You just have to keep going. Perhaps things won't be as bad as they used to be. At the very least, I do not think they could be much worse. Maybe that is something I should feel happy about.
I'm pondering this when the bus arrives with a familiar rumble of tires. I shrink back at first, afraid. But I try to tell myself I am not alone. I have Ashlyn and Jessie and Mrs. Corey, and I suppose I have Skylar now. I'll probably get bullied just like always, but I think I can endure it. I know I have people who care about me. I take a deep breath of the wintry air. It is cold, it chills me to the bone. Then I lift my head and step onto the bus.
First step. Alec perseveres. Woohoo! Credits! Do we have time to push Skylar off the cliff, or should we just leave that as that's the canon? And,
It's pushing it.
Okay. Well, would you mind if I did that just on the end of stream?
I didn't think we would do any more stream of it, so...
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we're not going to basically just do the falls to pieces. It's one achievement. It's probably not like a... It's not going to be as long as this ending. So yeah, cool. Well, we will say goodbye to Jessie, who has
I
been...
didn't say I had to go yet, I just said I would be pushing it.
Oh, okay. And we won't say goodbye to Jessie then. But Jessie may have to leave abruptly. So I will say thank you for doing the stream with me. Oh. So, 100% canon ending. No notes. There's 2 locked pictures. And there actually is a notes thing. Okay. Hi, Evie here. Thanks for reading The Mermaid of Zennor. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh look, it's another short, gloomy visual novel about a sad teenage girl set in England. I seem to write this kind of story a lot. At least I know where my interests lie. Tonally, this story is pretty similar to my old free visual novel, Lynn. It has the same oppressive feeling, plus a highly ambient soundtrack. Oh, by the way, which was composed by the same person who managed Lynn's soundtrack. Lynn and Lilac even look somewhat alike. I hope the stories don't feel too samey, despite all that. The Mermaid of Zennor was inspired by the 1939 novella Schoolgirl by Dazai. Schoolgirl is, as the title might suggest, about the titular schoolgirl, and it's written from her perspective as she navigates a day in her life. It's quite a melancholy read, which doesn't have much in the way of plot. It's mostly introspection from a probably depressed narrator about how hard it can be simply to exist. The narrator in Schoolgirl is almost infallibly melancholy, but there are parts of the narrative where she talks pretty harshly about her classmates and her supposed friends, whom she finds shallow and vapid. She also constantly contradicts herself through the story, first positing that she likes a certain person or thing, then instantly saying, but now that I think about it, I might hate it or them after all. I found Schoolgirl a pretty interesting read, and I think the stream of consciousness manner of writing it, writing it employs is very convincing. Though the reader doesn't spend much time with the main character, and I don't believe you ever learn her name, her thought processes seem very realistic. I found myself sympathising with her a lot. Lilac and Mermaid was based around Desai's Schoolgirl, and the narrative voice is somewhat similar. I wanted the story to really dig into her head, to make the narration feel raw and realistic, even when she's not entirely sure how she feels herself. She also has some of the curtness towards other people that Desai's narrator has. The scene of Lilac speaking to Jessie's shirt, meanwhile, was inspired by the infamous desk scene in Subahibi? Though Lilac doesn't go quite as far as in Tokuji, it's not that kind of story. Now that I think about it, maybe Lilac's narrative voice shares a few things in common with the jumbled stream of conscious narration from Tokuji's chapter in Subahibi. You know what I'm saying. I originally intended for the story to only have one ending, the ending where Lilac pushes Skylar off the cliff, but I felt so bad for my characters I couldn't go through with it. I generally enjoy making my characters suffer to a good degree, but I didn't want to doom Lilac to a fate of being a murderer. That would ruin her life, and she's not in the best headspace to begin with. In a moment of weakness, I added a second ending which has a slightly more hopeful bent to it. This is the benefit of writing visual novels. If you're too cowardly to stick to your guns like I am, you can offer cheery alternatives to the otherwise unpleasant narrative. I hope you find at least one of the 2 endings satisfactorily. You'll have to let me know what you think. Well, I think that what I'm terming the true ending that we just did was extremely well written and healing, and you know, it merely makes you like Skylar. So, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
You like the true ending or the one where we shove her off a cliff? We haven't done that one yet. We're about to do it there. But yeah, I liked the ending where we actually said our feelings out loud and somebody listened and somebody did something to help us. The one we did, yeah. I like the ending. So this is not canon, even though technically it was written first. But we're doing it for the sake of completeness and because we've got, 10, 15-ish. So I'll make the story have a happy ending.
I pushed Tyler's horrible, heavy hand off my shoulder.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't speak to me! Don't look at me! Lil! She's still looking at me with widened eyes, but I won't let her trick me any longer. I won't let this witch cast the spell on me like she did my brother. Don't call me Lil. Only my brother can call me that because I love him and I don't love you. But Lil? Her face looks very pale like the moon hanging in the sky. I was just trying to be nice. You thought I was so sad and needy and desperate. I thank you for your pity. Do you think I'm that pathetic? No, Lil, but I don't want to hear anymore.
I can barely hear her anyway because the wind is howling in my ears and my blood is thumping in my head. I just want it to stop.
I already told you not to call me that.
My voice doesn't sound like my voice. It doesn't sound like any human voice I've ever heard either. It sounds raw and angry. like the howling of an enraged beast. I'm not a princess, maybe I'm not even a witch. Am I even human?
I don't want your pity or your fake friendship. I don't want it. Lel, she said, taking one awkward step backwards. I'm sorry if I upset you. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to interfere. You think you understand me, but you've only known me 2 days. I'm not that simple. I know you're not. Her voice is loud now too and pleading. I didn't mean that. I wasn't looking down on you. You're a liar. Everyone looks down on me. Everybody. I'm not looking down on you. I swear I'm not. You are. I retort because arguing is all I can do. I've never been agreeable. You pretend to be nice, but you're not doing it because you care about me. Nobody cares about me. You're just doing it because you want to look good in front of Jessie. I do want to get on with Jessie's family, she says, taking another step backwards, but is that really such a bad thing? I was just trying to be friendly. But not for my sake. It's never for my sake. You and Mrs. Corey and even Ashley and all the people who act nice to me do it because it's their job, or because they want to feel good about themselves, or because they want to impress my brother.
My fingers are trembling at my sides. I can't keep them still, even when I clench them into fists. I've been screaming so loudly that my throat is sore. Feels like it's burning.
I mean, I'm not going to scream.
It's cold outside and the wind is howling like it is crying, but I feel warm all over. My face is turning red.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not actually going to shout because my mic is already at the top end with me being loud. It's not about me. It's never about me. I'm just a burden, a bother, a pain. I'm just somebody you comfort and console so you can pat yourself on the back. But it's never about how I really feel. Nobody cares how I feel. But that isn't true. She's just staring at me with her large and smoky eyes, which look larger and smokier than ever in the dark. I do care. I care about you. No, you don't. You don't. Lel. I cut her off.
I take a step forwards. The grass, which is swaying in the crisp night air, compacts beneath the heel of my shoe. Skylar takes another step back. The buckles of her thick black witchy boots shine in the moonlight. She is standing right on the edge of the cliff, which scared her so much only a few minutes ago. Now she doesn't seem to notice it. Her eyes are trained on me. She doesn't know it, but I am cornering her. All it would take is one push, and then...
If you cared about me, I say, then you would never have stolen my brother from me. I wasn't trying to steal him. I didn't mean to. But you did anyway. Take another step forwards. You took away the one person from me who loved me, who cared about me, and now I have nobody. Lil, I cut her off again. Don't want to hear a single word this witch has to say. You stole everything from me, so don't act like you care. Don't try and pretend like you know how I feel. You don't understand, so just shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I've been screaming so much that my vocal cords feel like they're in real danger of tearing. My whole body is falling apart. Bits of me have broken off like flotsam. They're floating away. My patience and my reason and my sanity are all gone. But how can I be patient and reasonable and sane when I'm so unhappy? I've been unhappy for a long, long time, but I always tried to ignore it, because I knew if I let myself be sad, then I'd never be able to recover. I acted like Eiley and Phoebe and Lucy and Megan's insults rolled right off me, but they didn't really. Of course they didn't. Everything they did and said to me hurt. Mrs. Corey always tells me sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me. But she's wrong.
She's very wrong.
That's a lie, because names can hurt. And I told myself that they couldn't because it wasn't a real physical hurt, like falling over and skinning my knee in PE, or being hit in the shin with a hockey stick, but it hurt all the same. It still hurts. I've been hurting for so long, and nobody knows. Nobody cares. They think I don't have the mental capacity to understand suffering because I'm autistic. Or maybe they think I'm so developmentally stunted that I don't feel emotions like other humans, but that isn't true. I feel things just like everybody else. I might appear cold and distant, and maybe I don't always know what to say or how I'm supposed to look, but I still cry when I get hurt like everybody else. Skylar can try and act nice, but that's all it is. It's just an act. She doesn't know me, and she'll never know me. And I'm tired, and it hurts, and I'm sick. I can't stand it. All these emotions, which I've tried to keep bottled up deep inside my heart,
where they can't annoy or inconvenience anybody suddenly surge upwards until I feel like I really might be sick. It's all too much. I think that is why I push her. Skylar doesn't try to resist.
I don't think
I
she
don't think
expected it, so she can't move out the way. Her red hair and her red lips, which once looked so bold and bright and daring, now clash horribly with her bloodless, pale face. She's a witch, and she's evil, and she must be defeated. That's logical. If she really is a witch, then why does she look so scared? She doesn't use any magic to protect herself. She doesn't try to drag me down into the abyss with her. Instead, she falls backwards, surrendering herself to the inexorable pull of gravity. She's falling. I watch her as she tumbles through the air like a ragdoll, growing smaller and smaller all the while. Her red hair streams through the sky like a standard or a banner, the dying flames of a phoenix. She doesn't scream. Maybe she can't. The shock of being pushed must have forced all the air out of her lungs. She hits the sharp, jagged rocks 300 feet below me. The waves crash against the rocks. The wind screams in my ear. It takes a few moments to work out that I am screaming too.
Crouched down on the ground, the grass brushing against my ankles, and I clap my hands over my face, and I scream and I scream and I scream. I scream for my brother, who I know will never love me now. I scream for Skylar, who did not scream when I pushed her. I scream for myself and all the times my heart was broken. I scream and I can't stop screaming. I don't know if I'll ever be able to stop. In ruins.
Oh, that was really, really short.
Lilac falls to pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think Skylar fell to more pieces.
She fell 300 feet. Okay. That's like a little epilogue of the what if. But it didn't actually happen. I did think it might be a little bit longer, but I guess, you know, what are you going to do? Show her entire family disowning her, the police, the, you know, whatever. Or would they even believe, you know...
That she pushed her, they might just feel like she slipped.
Yeah, it's an accident.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. It leaves a lot open to interpretation. I like the other ending. But that's all the achievements. 13 out of 13. Appropriate number. For a spooky ending. Yeah. The end. Or is it? Dun dun dun. Now we get... That's like the main screen, isn't it? That's the cover art, the key art, yeah. I like that one. She's like, I don't like hugs. But actually this isn't too bad, and she smells like lavender, and she's nice and soft and squishy. And she looks happy. And I think maybe having that little air of happiness and confidence might mean the bullies will stop picking on her. Possibly. We can hope. There we go. Mermaid of Zennor. Penguin Pop. Thank you very much, Penguin Pop and ID at Xbox, for the codes for that one. And it is the end of the stream. Great timing. Jessie has to teach. So, stream-wise, I am streaming tomorrow at the normal time for me of UK 8 PM. Schedule in Twitch below. I'll be playing The Quarry. We have 5 chapters left. We are going to finish it, I think. We're aiming to finish it, even though it's going to be a longer stream, because I have to stay up till like ridiculous o'clock to wonk my sleep for Friday. So we're going to do a long stream because why not? And then, yeah, Friday, 10 PM UK time, Extra Life. When it goes off the list of the last donators, it will have the little countdown. Do you beat it first or... Ooh. Well, I don't know, Ministry. I mean, it's going to take 5 or 6 hours probably for me to get to the end, and I'm starting at 8 p.m, so that's like 2 in the morning UK time. So depends when you finish it, I guess. But yeah. Oh, and Jesse, along with Leaky and Dan, will be joining me for Moving Out at the end of Extra Life, so we'll have some fun co-stream. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Co-streamness for the last like 3 hours of the 24, so I don't fall asleep, and it will be awesome and fun and probably hilarious and very bad because I will be completely uncoordinated and sleep deprived. So yeah, Jesse, when's your next racy thing? Or
Race probably Saturday, but I'll be streaming Friday.
you'll be there. That's yeah. Sorry, I meant when's your next stream, but I just sort of went with race because you have lots of races. What time are you starting?
Normalish.
Okay, which is what, 3 p.m. your time?
2, maybe.
2 p.m. Okay, so that'll be more like 6 my time. So that'll be pre-Extra Life. I may be still asleep, but I will try and catch some if you're still on when I'm up. So I don't want to get up too long before my stream because 24 hours is long enough without adding another 4 in there. So yeah. So if you want something to watch in between epically long Quarry stream and Extra Life, then definitely go follow Jesse. Hang on, let me just do a... No, I can't do a shout out for Jesse in his own channel. That's silly. That's not where we're going. There we go. If you're not following Jesse, you should be following Jesse because Jesse's awesome. Thank you to Jesse for being the voice in my ear, my partner in crime, my beloved brother. And yeah, as always, I've been Joe, otherwise known as Angel SK. He's been Jesse, sometimes known as Radical Sniper 99, but no longer. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.